Stefanski during the 1 o'clock hour live here on 92.3 The Fan. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com reporting that Michigan has some interest in Brown's offensive coordinator Tommy Rees when it comes to its head coach opening. Michigan looking for a replacement for Sharon Moore, who was fired this week. Rees recently interviewed for the Penn State job, but lost out to Matt Campbell. Thursday night football at Tampa Bay last night. Buccaneers, 14-point lead over Atlanta in the fourth quarter. However, the Falcons would rally, and in the final second, Zane Gonzalez completed the comeback.
Zane Gonzalez in a 2-point game on the approach. He drives it. It's on the way, and it is good! Atlanta comes all the way back to sink Tampa Bay. 29-28, your final score.
Yeah, courtesy NFL Westwood One, heard right here on 92.3 The Fan. Kirk Cousins throws 3 touchdown passes for the Falcons, all of them to Kyle Pitts. For the Bucs, Baker Mayfield passed for 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Is Shadur Sanders playing his way into QB1 for the Browns in 2026?
My focus right now is the team we're playing ahead, the Bears. So anything past that, I'm not really focused on. Honestly, I'm thankful for it, but I'm not content with my situation, with everything, and with leading this team.
This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
I think it's evolve, it's progress is what I would use the term with young players. And obviously at the quarterback position, a lot of the things that you're seeing for the first time, you're seeing for the first time. And then you get to see it the second time. And I think if you look at Shadur's play in the time he's been out there, you're seeing progress in technique, you're seeing progress in decision-making. Communication is paramount, especially on third down in these past situations when they are running their stunts and their games and pressures. It's really important that everybody's on the same page, and then at the end of the day you have to have your technique. If the ball's coming out on time, that's another thing that can defeat a pass rush.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Yeah, we're going to take it one day at a time. I think you learn about quarterbacks in year 5 and year 10 and year 5. I don't think you ever stop learning and evolving with those players. We're going to pour everything we have into our group right now, and we're going to continue to find ways to improve and find ways to, put emphasis on certain things and continue to get him, ready to play.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
All right, we're going to talk about Tommy Rees coming up here in a bit. He ain't going nowhere. I don't care about these Michigan reports. Something stinks now. I'm going to get that off my chest here in just a second. Jason Lloyd in, looks like hell. Hi. What? You look terrible.
Well,
if they're watching on YouTube, I hope they see it. Now I know I look like a bucket
you're one
of goo.
to talk.
I know I look fat. Excuse me. I know I am fat. There's no looking about it. I know what I look like. It's Rat Boy and the Hog for a reason. But you, what is this?
What?
Are you going through a midlife crisis over there?
No, I've been through 2 of them already. I'm good.
2 of them?
Oh yeah.
How do you go through 2 midlife crises?
I bought a motorcycle when I got. Yeah.
My God.
Had a little bit too much wine at my niece's wedding and bought a bike. I mean, I returned it, but I bought a bike. Yeah, that was a midlife crisis.
You didn't buy it drunk, did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just made the decision. I wasn't drunk. I was just a little buzzed.
What did your wife say?
Oh, my God, what are you doing? But, yeah.
So you returned it?
I just put a down payment on it. And then I said, yeah, you know what? This probably my kids are young. If I die, it's probably going to be a problem. I'll wait till they're older. Then if I die, they won't care.
That's a responsible way to think about it, I guess.
Think so.
But what was the other midlife crisis? Can you tell me?
No, I think it was probably all just rolled into one.
Oh.
When I turned 40, that messed with me.
I think I
think the bike might have been right around there, too. I'm almost 50 now. I don't care. 40 really messed with me.
I told my wife, I said, I think I'm going through something. But if this is a midlife crisis, I think it's a healthy midlife crisis. Because I've always had a lot of life insurance policies. Because, again, look at me. But now I'm like, well, I got to get us all in order just in case. And I think I'm consumed with that because I'm like, I don't have time to buy a classic car. I don't really spend money on myself to that level at all.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going, well, what am I going to buy? What can I get in? I don't have time to brisket. I like Ken Burns, but I'm not going to get into World War II or the Civil War too terribly much. I enjoy history and I read the books in my off time, but I don't think I'm a reactionist or any reenactor or anything like that. I am a reactionist, but I'm not a reactor. Yeah.
I've seen you golf. That's not it.
I'm not. I'm glad you brought that up. I think I'm done. I've been invited to several outings, and I've had to give some really bad news to a few people who are really, really nice. I'm doing 2 outings this coming year, this summer, and that is it. And I think in one of them, I'm not even going to golf.
I don't drive around the cart and drink.
I don't find it enjoyable anymore. My boss just texted us because I know he hates it when I mention the golf, and it's December, so there's no reason to mention the golf. I'll say this: I've tried every lesson, I've tried every person. I want to thank Barry Friedman. I feel like John Hoey retiring right now. I want to thank Barry Friedman over there on the west side of Valley of the Eagles for trying. I'd like to thank Jimmy Hanlon. I'd like to thank so many others who have tried to help me here over these so many years.
You are a lost cause.
But this is it. I think I'm hanging them up. I don't think I'm going to golf anymore. I will go to the golf course someday and drive the golf cart. I encourage my sons to play the game. Hopefully my oldest has started before me. Hopefully he'll have a better future than me. But it was like right before the weather turned. We had some really nice weather in early November, and I was like, well, I'm going to put out the Christmas lights now. And my neighbor, AJ, texted me. He's like, hey, we had a 4th drop. You want to come golf? It was like 9 a.m. And I texted like, nah, I got some Christmas lights I'm going to put out. And I'm like, I'm in my bathroom, like getting ready to shower for the day. I can't tell you where I'm sitting, but everybody knows. And he's like, what are you bleeping kidding me? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put up Christmas lights, bud. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, I don't really want to golf.
Yeah, I've seen you golf. You're not missing much.
No, I'm terrible. It's not fun. That's the thing. Like if I could get the ball in the air and do that, I can't do it. And so there's no point. And people go, well, you got to get fitted clubs. Nah, because I just told Jason I don't like to spend that type of money on myself, so I'm not going to do that. And there's no point. There's people who can't ride a bicycle and they can't swim, and I can't golf, and that's not going to happen. So I guess I'm done. So good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Is Baker Mayfield done? No, okay. I got some audio to play, and then I have one of the most diabolical questions I think ever, and it comes from a listener. So you can't sit there and say, you've subjected us to this crap.
Is this that whatever
Jason Lloyd is in for Lyman today. I don't even know if I said your name already. What'd you say?
Is this whatever you teased to me before the show? Oh, you're going to love the first segment.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be good. Because he texted me, and I didn't see it until... This guy's name's Chad. Nice guy. Youth football guy. You know, I'm starting to know all the youth football guys.
The youth football
out there.
community?
Yeah.
Out in Western
My
PA?
network, I'm going to become Jimmy Sexton of youth football. It's going to be great. And so, yeah, it made you laugh. I knew I'd get your ass. So he texted me, and I didn't see it till this morning, and I woke up and I went, that's a question. I'm going to do it because he's a listener, and I want my listeners to be happy and have something to ponder. So yesterday, the Buccaneers lost in sterling fashion. And Todd Bowles spoke yesterday. Here's what Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Buccaneers, had to say after last night's game that you could have heard right here on 92.3 The Fan.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You got to care enough where the hurts. You got to care enough where the hurts. It got to mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? Well, you can't sugarcoat that. It was inexcusable, and there's no answer for it. There's no excuse for it. That's what you tell them in the locker room. Look in the mirror.
I got to be honest. I think Mitch would say that sounds exactly like me talking to him at times.
Except in a much louder tone.
But the words, the cussing, what a great cusser. You respect a football coach so much more when he knows when to cuss and he knows where to put them. And that was a good one. However, Baker Mayfield, he threw a late interception. He threw a late pick. And this is what Baker had to say in the post game.
Disappointing, obviously, but falls on my shoulders. Can't turn the ball over. Can't have that interception. Got to hit Mech in stride on that 3rd down. Listen, you can say what you want about being up 2 scores and the defense right there, but we have to be better on offense, and it comes down to how I play. This one's going to haunt me. This falls on my shoulders.
I'm not smiling about Baker saying it and there's some comeuppance or anything like that. I'm smiling about this diabolical question I'm about to ask you because I think it's going to blow the doors off this room. Anyway, Baker put it on his shoulder. Of course, he's playing hurt. Like it's one or two things with Baker, and I hope he's injured. I hope he's injured.
Clip that.
No, and it's because let me tell you why. Because it's either he's injured or he just can't handle success.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
There's a lot of evidence of both.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I would rather him be, hey, he's 6 feet tall. He needs his whole body to throw. He and Emeka Egbuka have fallen off the face of the planet with each other. He double clutches now because he's afraid. Mike Evans caught everything, so maybe he just needs Mike Evans to be there for the next 30 years, it seems. But like, there's so many things that he needs, and he's good. How good can he be? I think you're kind of seeing it right now with how good he can be. Like, there's going to be ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and that's what it is. And I hope he's injured because the other side of it, I would think, is that you just can't handle success. Once you start doing commercials and once you start appearing on shows and things like that, you just can't do it anymore and you start falling apart. Like, it's like he's the dad in Talladega Nights where it's going well, and then this is the equivalent of him getting thrown out of an Applebee's. Like, I'm not even trying to make a joke. Like, that's what I thought of. Like, things are going well. I'm going to cause a problem with the waitress, and I'm out of here. And he's going to have a problem with playing football, and he'll be out. Like, that's what I started to think.
So what's your diabolical question here?
So
here's
the diabolical question that's going to blow the lid right off this room. Open the phones, 216-474-0092. This is from a listener, guys. From a listener. We're not doing coming in hot today, so I'm doing the diabolical question right at the very beginning of the show. Chad in Westlake asked me a question. Quote, an idea for a topic, colon, whose ceiling is higher, Baker or Sanders? 216-474-0092. Baker or Shador?
Well,
who's
enjoy
got the
doing the
higher
next 4
ceiling?
hours by yourself.
No, you stay here. You stay here. You're in this
Good night, everybody.
with me, babe. Nuh-uh. No, fine. I'll be a man. I'll face him right off. You don't want to answer the question. He walked out of the room, Kayla. He walked out of the room, YouTube Live. He doesn't want to answer the question. Let it be known. I'm the first person in Cleveland media. To get Jason to walk out because he's afraid to answer the tough questions.
Oh, that's me. I'm afraid.
That's me.
All
Not
right.
even Garrett could do it to you. I got you to walk out of the room.
I can see
this
now.
guy.
It's going to be hell in the cell for the next 3 hours and 47 minutes.
I'll say it right now. I'm an excitable boy. How tall is Shador?
6'1".
Okay.
And 3/4.
I think he's 6'2". Okay.
6'1" and 3/4.
6'2" with a helmet on. 6'2". He's not as compact, which means he can do a little. He's a little bit. He seems a little bit longer. Okay. I'm going somewhere with this. He's taken a lot of hits. Now, Oklahoma is Oklahoma, right? What's Colorado before Shadur Sanders got there? What's Jackson State before Shadur Sanders got there? Yeah, I know the Cleveland Browns right now 1-2 with Shadur Sanders, but the Cleveland Browns aren't that great. Let's be honest. If we want to talk about ceilings, I've seen it with Baker.
I mean,
I don't know I don't know yet where the
years.
I've seen it with Baker. I didn't say it was a fair question. I'm just saying it's a question that a listener sent me that the listeners want to talk about, and I want to talk about what the listeners talk about.
One listener wants to talk about.
We'll see. We got thousands of others, so we'll see. Do you guys even want to discuss it? 216-474-0092. If you don't want to discuss it, I'll back away. It's a 4-hour show. I can just go on until 8 o'clock, and we can act like this segment never happened. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
You're comparing a guy who's in his 8th year in the league.
That's what I'm going to do.
To a guy who's made 3 starts.
People say Fernando Mendoza is Kirk Cousins on steroids. How many years that guy been in the league? How many years has he been able to collect Cole's cash?
No,
I don't want to hear it.
It's Jared Goff, not Kirk Cousins.
Oh, it's Jared Goff
it's
now?
Goff. Goff is the comp.
Go to the internet. They say
I know.
Kirk Cousins.
I only listen to Dane Brugler, and Dane called him Goff.
I mean, that's still not a bad comparison. Kirk Cousins was a really successful quarterback at one time, and he did win last night.
I have to admit, when I first heard Goff and because actually Dane used both Cousins and Goff, and it was like, oh, that's the number 1 pick in the draft. But Goff was the number 1 pick in the draft.
He was.
And he's turned out to be a pretty good quarterback.
Yes,
and Kirk Cousins had a nice career for himself.
Jared Goff's played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And then his team said, we don't want you anymore.
Who's got the higher ceiling?
Well, Baker's at his ceiling.
So do
This is
you
his
or do you
eighth
not
year in the
believe-
league.
Do you? I'm just going by what a listener asked me. Okay. Chad and Westlake, Chad on the west
Well,
side.
good. Go ahead and answer it.
Oh, I say Shadur. I've seen less, which means I hope more. Because I've seen it all with Baker. I think Baker's a guy who's going to take you to the playoffs. I don't think Baker's a guy who's going to. I don't think he's going to stand there during the national anthem of the Super Bowl.
And that's why they did what they did.
Totally backfired.
It did.
But I'm not here to discuss Deshaun Watson's ceiling. I'm here to discuss Shadur's.
But it's important because, I mean, the Browns have been absolutely destroyed for the last year and a half for that trade, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But
it's still that performance last night does not.
A big part of why they did what they did, was because they didn't think Baker could get them to a Super Bowl.
So, are you trying to say that last night and exactly what I just said is justification for the trade?
The trade didn't work, obviously. It was a disaster.
Justify.
I have said since the day they made the trade, I understand why they did what they did.
See, I said by the day they made the trade, I understand why they did what they did, but I didn't want the quarterback, and I was on record many times over. I thought he was a mistake. I felt that I'd rather just bring in another veteran and let's see if we could do that. I thought it was too much. I didn't think he was that good. And you can ask Anthony.
Yeah.
There's no revisionist history. I know we love to do flip-flop stuff.
No, I don't flip-flop. I don't flip-flop.
Well, not you, but the station. We love to call each other out for flippity-floppity.
I don't know, man. We don't need to do a whole show on.
Oh, I'll do it
on Baker and Deshaun. And
Friday,
and
the holiday season. I'll do it. He just lost again last night. They're 7-7.
Yeah, the Baker thing is wild, and I don't know. I understand why they made the move that they made. Obviously, it blew up in spectacular fashion. It was a total catastrophe.
Yes, it did,
and it has wrecked the franchise for multiple years. And
yes, it has.
They still haven't recovered, and they're still multiple years away from recovering. But
you found a way to be even slipperier than the slippery wizard. You didn't answer the question. Who has the higher ceiling?
So what's Baker's ceiling?
216-474-0092. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to think of your answer.
What's Baker's ceiling?
I said I'm going to give you 5 minutes to think of your answer. 216-474-0092. If you think it's even stupid to bring the question up, don't blame me, blame Chad on the west side. 216-474-0092.
Chad, could you have texted him this over the weekend? Make Lyman deal with this on Monday.
Who has the higher ceiling? Baker Mayfield or Shadur Sanders? I've already made my opinion clear. I have planted my flag, which is a terrible analogy when you think about it. But either way, I have planted my flag on who I think has the higher ceiling. And he currently plays for the Cleveland Browns, and his number is 12. 216-474-0092. And if you think it's stupid, go ahead and tell us that too. You got 5 minutes to come up with your answer. I'll give you time. You're a writer, so you guys don't sit there and just fly off the handle like me. Jason will give his answer if he's even in the studio when we come back in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Be more confident where it counts. Nick Wilson here for Blue Chew.
holidays, you gotta go there. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know where to go, get to Avon Lake. You'll be glad you did. PeterJewelers.com. Since 1987, it's where Cleveland shops for the holidays. Headline sports news every 20 minutes from the University Hospital's sports desk. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
We have to be better on offense, and it comes down to how I play. This one's going to haunt me. This falls on my shoulders.
Baker put it on his shoulder. Of course, he's playing hurt. I hope he's injured. He just can't handle success. Okay, that is a little bit mean-spirited how you guys click that together. Jason Lloyd in with
Play it
us.
again. Do it again.
No. Play it again, Sam.
Just play the I hope he's hurt.
We have
I
to
hope
be
he's
better
hurt.
on offense, and it comes down to how I play. This one's going to haunt me. This falls on my shoulders.
Baker put it on his shoulder. Of course, he's playing hurt. I hope he's injured. He just can't handle success.
I hope he's injured.
Don't clip it like that. That's not how it goes.
I hope he's injured.
One more time. Sorry,
I said I hope he's injured because it's either one of the two things. He's either playing hurt, which again he could just fix because then he'll be fixed this offseason and he'll probably play well again
this
at the
is
beginning
always
of next
part
year.
of the story with
I
him.
understand that. Or the other thing is way worse. It's guys. It's way worse to not be able to handle success than to be injured. Good Lord. I mean, can you not see the difference?
Of course.
Okay. Like, we're being serious here.
Yes.
All right. I know what you're trying to avoid answering, and don't think you're going to turn me away from that. Okay? That Limas thinks he's a slippery wizard, and ain't going to work like that. So you're going to have to answer the question here in a second, but let me say what I wanted to say. Go ahead. What were you going to say before I say it?
Well, now you got me so twisted and turned around. No,
That's what I do.
But the injury,
I take over for the slippery wizard when he's not here.
But the injuries are part of who he is also. When you're a 6-foot quarterback, injuries are part of the game.
That's true.
But in terms of the can't handle success, he's always been a guy who has to play with the, quote, chip on the shoulder. I hate cliches, but he's always better when people are talking bad about him and when people are counting him out. And as soon as he gets a level of success, doesn't always seem to go so well. So why can't it be both?
Because it would be insane if it were both. And I'd be so... I feel like our time was wasted if it were part of both. If it were injuries are one thing.
What is Baker's ceiling?
Because that's what you're seeing. This is the ceiling. This
is
a
team who will get you to the playoffs.
This is it.
Get you to the playoffs.
This is the ceiling. But what I'm pointing out is that this is what's made this whole thing so annoying with him over the last how many years. And it's really not even, well, it partly is with him. I mean, he's taking his shots at other fans and media and all that other stuff. I mean, good God. Like, people say, I'm annoyed by Shadur. I go, Shadur hasn't said anything about the fans, and Shadur hasn't really said anything about the media at all. It's been fans and it's been other media members, but it hasn't been him. But when it comes to Baker, that was part of, you'd see this really good play, and then it's like, well, do I need to rub your nose in it for you to play well? Like, at some point, you just play well. Like Mahomes, Allen, Lamar. Yep. Like, they get to a point they don't need this chip on their shoulder. They create their own, but they don't need to have some real, true narrative. Like, every guy makes up their own, Michael Jordan, Brady, the whole thing, they make up their own disrespect. They do that. That's motivating. That's fine. But, like, that's real disrespect about how well you play or how well you don't play. Dude, you need to have that to really actually play? Because at some point, we're going to move on.
You have to be able to play.
Yeah. Like, because if this were to continue, like, this level of play with him, I know he's got, that $30 million next year? If this were to continue, that's it. And then you are another flash in the pan for the second time in your career. Made a lot of money. Congratulations. That part, hopefully you won't mess that up. But at this level, it's like, if you go into next year, you're 7-7. You've let this division slip away from you. You're letting any playoff hope slip away from you. And I could say, Mike Evans, collarbone. Well, okay, Mike Evans is on borrowed time as it is. Emeka Ibuka's young and good. You guys can't find each other on the same level. You have weapons galore down there. Like, there's no excuse. The only excuse would be injury. That's the only excuse. And that's why I hope it's injury, because the other one would be far worse. You can't handle success. You're a quarterback, for crying out loud. And so that's why, like, I've seen the ceiling with him. I've seen a good game. I've seen a whatever. I've seen a really good game out of Shadur. They've only won one of those. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go, one guy's 6'2". One guy's elevated where he's been. Baker did certainly elevate the Browns, so you can make that argument. But, you know what? I'm always going to be more intrigued. It's why we play the lotto. I'm always going to be more intrigued by the what if and the possibility. Yeah, I'm going to say Shadur has the higher ceiling. 216-474-0092. At least I'll answer the question. At least I got the pills to answer the question. You won't even answer the question.
More grit.
Answer the question.
It's a ridiculous question.
It's
a ridiculous question.
A listener asked the question. I want you to do what the listeners
ask
tell
a lot
you.
of questions.
And as a radio show host, you should entertain those questions.
Good thing I'm not a radio host.
Yes, you are. You're hosting a radio show right now. You're wearing the headphones.
I'm impersonating a radio host.
Well, if you're going to do it, then you better do it. If you're going to be a cop and be impersonating a cop, you better pull some people over. So let's see it.
I think Baker's at his ceiling. He's a quarterback who can get you to the playoffs. Probably get you to championship game. Maybe, if everything breaks his way. There's a lot of quarterbacks who could get you to the playoffs. Are there not?
Yeah. So what, do you think they have the same ceiling is what you're trying to tell me?
I have no idea. Shadur could win a Super Bowl. He could be out of the league in 2 years. I have no idea.
Well, you just answered the question. You say Shadur. You said he could win a Super Bowl. I don't think Baker Mayfield could win a Super Bowl.
When Baker was a rookie, did we think Baker could win a Super Bowl?
Champions Post.
When Baker was a rookie, do you think he could win a Super Bowl?
And I have the benefit of hindsight in this. I didn't say it was a fair question. I said it was a question a listener wanted to answer.
Champions Post.
So now I want you to do it. Answer the question before I get to Gabe and Ashtabula, which will no doubt be an unhinged call that we'll probably have to dump. But either way, go ahead.
Well, let's take that. Let's take the call.
Gabe and Ashtabula, please keep it clean. It's only 6:30 in the morning.
They told me bust on my AP for the time, and so Ken, I agree with you. I think Shador's ceiling is much higher. Shador's a 5th-round pick. Baker's a Heisman 1st-round pick. So I did a little bit of comparables. I took the liberty of doing it. So Shadur, considered, could be a Nepo baby, and Baker's family stole money from him. They both have rabid fan bases. You got your Baker bros. You got your Shadur sexuals. But
Shadorians. That's the name.
My fault.
Judas Priest. You're getting close already.
Shador has more of a QB build. He threw for 300 yards last week. He has a rookie tight end as his number 1 receiver. You got Baker, who has Mike Evans. And they're still just stalling out in the playoffs. He's been to the playoffs twice. He threw 2 back-breaking picks at the end. He has chances to win. So I think we see Baker's ceiling is right there. Shador, we don't know. I think his ceiling could be higher. And real quick, I got a question for you, actually.
I'm going to have to dump it. You know how this is going to go. So go ahead. Go ahead and say it. What?
Has messing around in the snow got you fired from your coaching job? Hi, this is Sharon.
No. That's I don't want to have to dump these things. This is ridiculous. Jeff in Lakewood. Hello, Jeff.
What's going on? Good job. Jason Lloyd in the house. But that's a tough question you asked,
Jason Lloyd, who's hosting the show but won't answer the question that the listeners want to know.
I got a bone to pick with Jason Lloyd, too. But,
yes.
With Baker, I like Baker, too, man, because I got nothing against the guys, man, trying to survive for their family, do what they got to do for their family. And I do agree with Jason. I believe Baker, if things break right, he can make it to the NFC Championship game. I don't know if he can get to the Super Bowl. And I love Shador, but you know what I'm saying? We just got too much of a small sample size. But all we was hearing coming out the camp, he wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? I know Jason Lloyd said his source told him. That's all we heard.
Yeah.
He's not ready. He's not.
The water boy, am I right? He was carrying all the water, saying that he wasn't ready.
He's not ready. And I really think, man, if the Browns do the right thing, put the right pieces around him, man, because he's a 5th-round pick, but he's a 1st-round talent. Everybody know he's not no 5th-round pick. People know football.
So
know
you
he's a 1st-round
so you believe
talent.
Shador has the higher ceiling?
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, I'm pulling for Shador, you know what I'm saying? But we got a small sample size. He just played 3 games.
Jeff, I'm willing to say it. If I'm willing to say it, if you believe it, then why won't you be willing to say it? Just say it.
I'm
feels
supporting
good.
my man.
Okay.
So I make one more point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Make one more point.
Yeah, pick
I
your
got a
bone.
point in the situation the next 3 games, and people, man, I'll be 65 years old this August. But the point I say, I've been watching a whole lot of football since the late 60s and the early 70s. And I know the Browns ain't having no good season. But if you think against Chicago, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh the next 3 games, the Browns is not losing. They're going to win one of them games, man. You have to been watching football for decades. The Browns is not losing all 3 of them games. They're going to win one of them games. I'm talking about the next 3.
Do you want Shadur to be the long-term quarterback?
Oh, most
okay.
definitely,
Then it's
man.
very important. Then it's very important they win one of those games, or 2 or 3 of those games. Jeff, thank you very much for the call. It's very important. I told you got it. And people are going, well, they didn't win. He played well. What are you saying? Evaluation is more important. And I say to this, Jason, it's like, well, if you think there's going to be change and you don't want a quarterback, this is something that the Shadur fans and the Browns fans and the mix of both in the circle diagram thing, whatever that is, Venn diagram, that's something they can agree on. If you don't want a quarterback, well, take that decision away, because then it makes it, okay, he's played well. He's played well enough to win. Do we need to put other people around him? I know it's a big conversation to have, and we don't have a lot of time in this segment for it, but that's kind of how I feel.
Well, we'll have a lot more answers, I think, in a month. It's hard to... If he continues to progress and play as well as he did, like he was great on Sunday. He was great. Brandon Whedon also threw for 300 yards as a rookie, okay? So it's more than just one 300-yard game. But if he continues to progress week over week over week, yeah, we can have that conversation a month from now. It's just too soon to do it off of one game.
Thank you. 216-474-0092. So you answer the question.
Here's what I would say. How much time we got?
40 seconds.
Baker was emotionally and mentally fragile when he was here, and I don't think Shadur is. I think Shadur is much mentally tougher and emotionally tougher than Baker was, and that has a lot to do with playing the position.
100% agree. 100% agree.
So gritty.
Coming up at 8:20 this morning, Nathan Zagura going to join us on the show. David Aldridge from The Athletic. Is there a real problem with the Cleveland Cavaliers, or are they just working some things out because of injuries? David Aldridge is going to join us this morning at 9. Coming up in 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Yes, I'm so desperate because I don't want him to end up like our other legend, Ken Carman. Jason Lloyd in for Tone on The Fan. Northeast Factor Direct, Northeast Factor.
Winner of the 2026 Career Excellence Award from the Baseball Writers Association of America. Paul will be honored in Cooperstown in July.
He's right there at the sack record, almost there at the sack record. And so I'm going to try and make sure that he doesn't get the sack record on us and on me. Make sure every single snap, every single play, everything is not allowing them to wreck the game. That's something that he can do. That's something that he's done throughout his whole career.
That's Caleb Williams talking about the challenge that is Myles Garrett. So he's got 3 to break the record, 2.5 to tie. I want him to do it. By the way, I want him to do it in 16
He's got to
games.
do it in 16, yes.
Thank you. You already knew it.
Yes.
You already knew it because
Yes.
I don't want any asterisks. I don't want any craziness. It's just like, hey, break the record in 16 so I don't got to hear it for the rest of. Because I want somebody to be special here. It's gotten to the point, and we could get nitty gritty and we can go into the weeds here. I'm not trying to do it too much, but let's go on some of this. I think the Malik Collins loss is a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than what people realize. I think real good defensive tackles are so much more important than any of us realize. I think you can get them in different rounds, and I understand. I'm not ripping the Mason Graham pick. Mason has been great, but I think you can find guys who are quality. I mean, Tava Rubin was a high-end quality defensive tackle for a long time, and he was a 6th-round guy. Now, it doesn't always end up that way, but you can find a lot of guys like that. Grady Jarrett, who's with the Bears, I mean, he was a good defensive lineman for a long time. But seeing without Malik Collins, they're bringing in Mo Hurst. I think they're kind of telling you, like, Mason Graham and Mike Hall, who still kind of is, you would imagine, basically he's still in a rookie season in so many ways in terms of experience. They're not great at stopping the run. And they're probably not going to be great at stopping the run for another couple of years. And I think that scares this defense. And for Myles, I think we're going to have ourselves an awkward conversation here over the next few games because these teams are going to circle Myles. Chicago has playoff aspirations. They dropped from 1st to 7th after that loss on Sunday against Green Bay. They got another big game coming up after us. They got to bear down, no pun intended. They got to bear down. They got to handle it. You got Cincinnati coming up at the end of the season, which they are only playing for pride. You have Pittsburgh trying to make it, Buffalo trying to make it, trying to solidify their spots. They're going to circle 95 and make this as tough as possible. But I want them to do it in the next 3 games. I think we're about to have ourselves a very awkward conversation because I think he's going to chase the sacks. Jason.
Of course he is. He's got nothing else to play for.
But I also think they're going to give up some rushing yards here like they did last Sunday, like they did to Tony Pollard. I mean, they're averaging 180 on the ground in Chicago, and it's going to be cold.
One of the things that I have been told for years about playing the Browns defense is just run through the gap Myles vacates because he's going upfield and he's trying to get sacks because he's got nothing else to play for. More years than not with this team. It's Defensive Player of the Year, and it's sack titles. So all you have to do is just run through the gap that he vacates.
But this is my fight back to that, is that the team's not good. I don't really want to blame him that much for it because again, I know it's going to sound like I'm blaming him.
But
this is where we're going to go right back to these old conversations we've been having with him for 9 years. I know it sounds like you're blaming him. You're not blaming him. But like Jason, he's been criticized for being a me first guy. I've never called him a leader. I think he's a captain because he's the best player on the team. Yep. He's the best defensive player in the team's history. And that's all I've held him to. At one point in his career, I wanted more. I've given up on that. And that's, hey, as long as you're one of the sack leaders in the NFL, I'm fine. I mean, you could be Myles Garrett or you could be Jadeveon Clowney and end up being a problem everywhere you go. I'll take Myles Garrett any day.
Totally agree.
But I think Myles is kind of caught in this thing where if I didn't get sacks and I played the run really well, you guys would rip me like you rip every other defensive end in the league who doesn't get sacks. Exactly. But if he gets sacks, it's like, hey, and in a 3-win season, I think a lot of us are looking forward to 2 things. Like there's good young players on this team, and some people get a little bit emotional when I say things like this.
Yeah.
But the general public wants to see Shadur, and they want to see Myles Garrett break the record.
Yeah.
That's
all you got.
Your uncle's sitting in your basement watching this game on Sunday. That's what he wants to see.
Yeah. And I will say, I think Myles, and I think the coaches have alluded to this, Myles has played the run much better this year than he has in the past. I thought Sunday was the first time where I saw they're just running through the gap that he vacates. That Sunday was the first time where I saw that this year.
Yes.
And he was split so wide. It was even wider. Because I took my son to the game Sunday. We were sitting out there in that cold. And it felt like he was even wider Sunday than he has been in the past.
Lloyds are a tough family. Oh, God. He was in like a wide 12.
Yeah.
Yes. He was lined up wide.
So I'll be curious to see if that continues Sunday.
Well, I think it will. I think it will because, and one, I can make an argument because you're watching Caleb Williams a bunch this year, especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, he has been a wizard. And there's been a lot of things where I'm going, what is this offense? Why you're not going down the field? They're going to give up some things in the middle of the field here.
Yeah.
Go down the field and put yourself in position. And sure as hell, I end up being like an idiot because he ends up running out of the pocket and he ends up running around the pocket and somehow he's able to make these plays on the run.
Yeah.
And I think Miles would look at it and go, if I'm lined up wide, he's going to cut back inside and maybe Mason can get him or maybe I can still get him or somebody else can go up and get him. So you can make an argument if you're Miles. But I just have this feeling, I think in the middle of next week, if they lose against the Bears or in the middle of the week after, I think there's going to be a weird conversation that comes to an ugly head again about what his priorities are. Is his priorities being a leader and helping the football team? And I just think I got to get out in front of it, Jason. And I think you agree with me. It's like, I don't expect him to be a leader. And maybe this has been the problem with the organization this entire time. Maybe it is on him. But I think that when he goes out there on the field, he's the one who holds up his end of the bargain.
On the field, yeah.
So if we're talking tough, like I've been upset before because backup quarterbacks have had to give the speeches before the games.
Yeah.
Which is silly.
Yeah.
That's who I'm critical of.
Well, and that's...
I'm not really critical of him in that sense.
Who are the leaders on this team? Yeah. I mean, Bitonio.
I think Joel Bitonio is on offense. I think Jerome Baker's a little bit more of a leader than we want to give him credit for on defense. I think Carson Schlesinger is rolling into that role. Him playing hurt, where I think he probably should have sat, and him playing well when he was playing hurt.
Yeah.
I think that matters a lot for this year, and I think it matters to a lot of the future of the franchise because I think that he can be the sheriff in the locker room and kind of hold people accountable to that level once he gets a little bit older. But yeah, I've had
it's slim pickings.
Well, yeah, and I've had a problem before where you've had 1-year guys. Rodney McLeod, 2 1-year contracts.
Yep.
Anthony Walker Jr., 3 1-year contracts. Now Jerome Baker, if I bring him in. They're the leaders on the defense. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Who are you paying on defense here?
Yeah.
Why aren't they the ones cussing people out? Like, I've had that problem, but now it's 3-10. It's like, hey, man, do I really got to bust his ass for going after the sack record? I don't think anybody really mad. I don't think anybody's going to be mad if they lose.
But this is why
they'll be mad if he doesn't get the sack record.
Everybody lost their minds. But this is why I wrote right after they signed him the extension, you should have traded him. This is why. He's a phenomenal player. He's an unbelievable talent. Probably go down as the best to ever do it. What are you getting out of it in the wins column? What are you getting out of it?
You know exactly why they signed him. You know why they extended it.
Well, because you can't be responsible for.
There you go.
Making the Deshaun trade and then losing the greatest defensive player to ever play for your organization.
And he's a fabulous player.
But that's not a good reason.
I know it's not a good reason, but that's the reason they chose. And he is a fabulous player. And talking to the guys on defense every week, because that's what I get for the preview show every week, because I love those guys.
Yeah.
Every time I come away from it, I have to admit to everybody within earshot, it's like, man, if we can get this offense going, I think we'd be having a lot of fun this year instead of dealing with what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
If we could have got this offense going, I think this could have been a lot better because these guys are good guys and they're good players. And I think that he's one of those things. I think he's both of those things.
You know how far away they are from getting this offense going? Like
3-4 years?
If I was 7 inches taller, I might have had a career in the NBA.
216-474-0092. Does it matter to you if Miles just goes for the sack record? Are you willing to do that as a fan? Like, am I going to get calls? Is Jason going to get calls? Or Lima when he comes back here next week? Are we going to have a weird conversation about him stopping the run or not stopping the run? I still thought he made a couple of plays to stop the run on Sunday against Tennessee. Still apparently wasn't enough for a lot of people. So are you going to be annoyed if he's lined up in a wide 47 going after the sack record on Sunday? And DeAndre Swift and everybody else, Monangai, who is running, I mean, they're averaging, again, 180 yards on the ground per game in Chicago. They're probably going to try to, and with the cold weather, they may just try to line up and kill your spirit.
Make you tackle.
216-474-0092. I ask you guys that question. And is the facility on fire right now, Jason?
I smell smoke.
Oh, I don't think they're on fire, but I got one guy who's acting like he can't get out of there fast enough Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, or it should say Jason Lloyd. Who's that guy? I'll tell you in 5 minutes on the Fan. Peter and Company Jewelers in Avon Lake. Let me tell you about them right now. They had their men's night last night. Fabulous success. I was hearing about it to and fro all the live long day. People going there. People loving it. Getting their gifts there. If you're thinking about that holiday gift, it is December 12th right now. You still have time. Get on over there. If you live on the west side, you live on the east side, go there for lunch. Go see it. Go see what they have for you. Wonderful jewelry for her. Wonderful jewelry. Wonderful watches for him. If you're over there in the area, get on over there. Check.
got a good working relationship with them. I just think so much has happened in the last 6 years. I think it is fair to ask that question, is this the right mix to go forward with based on like the history that everybody has together? I think when that's your history, your working history with someone, like it can be a little bit difficult to come out of that. So I think that's something that everybody's going to have to evaluate at the end of the year.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Watch us on YouTube Live. It's going to be absolutely free. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is go to YouTube, except maybe your soul, because Jason Lloyd is here. Folks, live over at 102.1, which is Star 102, my friends. All you have to do is call 216-983-5437 or text UH Rainbow, all one word, UH Rainbow, to 34984. The 2025 Rainbow Radiothon. It's back. Star 102, Jen and Tim. It's today. They're raising money, all for the kiddos over at UH Rainbow Babies and Children's. If you'd like to donate, go to Star 102 Cleveland for a link where you can make a donation. Once again, all you got to do, though, you can text UH Rainbow to 34984. The Radiothon's going on right now, the Rainbow Radiothon. They're wonderful people, Jen and Tim. They're over there taking care of business. Make sure you donate. It's a wonderful time. Taking care of the kiddos. That's what it's about. Not radio show hosts who are over 3 spins and radio show hosts who still color their hair in their late 40s.
I do not. I have never once colored my hair.
That's not what the YouTube live chat's saying.
That's
not what they're saying.
I mean,
they go, Tanner, why are you so gray? And you're 10 years younger than he is.
Because I'm amazing.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it, huh? Okay. All right. I'm just making sure.
Why would I color
Just making
my
sure
hair?
you don't color your hair. I'm gonna get back to Miles here because we got some calls here in a second. Can I just say this real quick? How bad on a scale of 1 to 10 does Tommy Rees want to get out of here? Jason Lloyd in for Lima today. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad does Tommy Rees want out of here?
I don't think he's putting together the Mike Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan
I'm sorry.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, I don't think he's putting together the Kyle Shanahan PowerPoint.
No, he wants to be a head coach. But I'm going, okay, North Carolina last year, as you mentioned, I can believe that. I can believe UCLA. Michigan. Well, there's interest that Michigan's there. Okay.
But part of this is once your name is in that cycle, it's going to stay in that cycle. No?
I don't know,
man. He has the endorsement and blessing of Nick Saban. The college football. He does.
Jason.
He does.
Jason.
You don't think that's true?
I know that. He worked for him.
Okay.
He acts like him in so many ways.
Saban loves him and puts him up anytime anyone asks about him.
Jason, every single open job. Oh, Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees. Okay, then someone just pick him up. Pick him up. You got 4 more games left in a season that's already sunk. Bye.
Wait a minute.
If he's one, like, I'm not saying he's not going to be a head coach, and I'm not saying he's not going to be successful. I'm just pointing out, it's like, well, we're going to go from offensive coordinator to the Cleveland Browns to the Michigan Wolverines. Maybe he will. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think you're going for. That's why I don't think it's serious.
I don't think.
That's why I don't think it's serious.
But there's always names that are thrown around that don't wind up getting the job.
And I also call those names not serious.
I just looked it up to make sure. He's 33 years old.
Yeah, really
and he's
young guy.
already interviewing for Power 5 jobs.
And I'm not saying he's overrated. I think he's properly rated, and I don't think he's stupid. And I think that by the way, if Shadur goes out and plays well and they keep losing and we decide to make a change at head coach, I think that he may be very well auditioning for the head coaching job.
Might be.
And I was one of the first ones to say it, and then everybody else in the station said it. We all said it together. How could you not say it? It's a possibility, right?
Sure.
You didn't want to let Kyle Shanahan go. He left. He went on to bigger and better things. All these other guys who went on to bigger and better things, why not just hold on to the guy? It's not that he's overrated or he sucks or I don't get. No, none of that's true. You got to get, as much as people who are big Shadur fans don't want to admit this, you got to give those coaches a little bit of credit. Bill Musgrave, who's friends with his father, has to be given a little bit of credit. Clearly,
you're
he
allowed
takes
to give him
coaching
credit.
well.
That's okay. It's fair to give.
I'm allowed to give Bill Musgrave credit.
Yeah, because
I didn't know how
I'm talking.
I didn't know how it worked.
I'm talking for the bots. You're allowed to give Musgrave credit because.
How dare you call them bots?
Because he's friends with Dion.
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
Else gets
I didn't know the rules of credit. I will give.
I'm glad we're not doing that segment, by the way.
What?
Who gets credit? I think it's silly.
No, because people just why?
It's just silly.
Why is it silly?
Players should get when players play well, they get the credit. When they play poorly, they should get the credit. The coaches did their job. Period. That's it. They get credit for doing their job.
No. I don't believe all that.
What?
Hold on. I don't believe all that. I was going to go back to Miles, but now I'm perturbed. If a player goes out there and plays poorly, was he properly ready? Was he properly readied to go out there and play well?
So why do players get all the credit then when they play well and they don't take the blame when they...
I don't give them all the credit when they play well. I believe that there's guys who are good coaches that get guys ready. Guys, there's a lot of players who, when they have their retirement speeches, they give credit to a lot of coaches.
I
like to give credit. Some credit. It's not. I mean, he can't go out there and make him do everything he wants to do. The player gets the bulk of the credit.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't tell me that there's no such thing as development and there's no such thing as extra work with him and in unlocking things that might. Okay, he might not be able to get from point A to B the way I need him to do it, but he can get to point A to B in a different way, and we can work with this and get the best out of him. That's good coaching. I give credit to good coaching. Bill Musgrave, Tommy Rees, and yes, Kevin Stefanski deserve at least a little bit of credit there.
Absolutely, and I agree with that.
Okay.
But there's just this...
Then why are we...
because I just think that there's this narrative, and tell me that I'm wrong, when a player plays well, they get all the credit. When the player plays poorly, they blame the coach.
The fans blame the coach. That's true. But the player in so many ways, I think that... And also, there has to be a cause and effect. Like, is Todd Bowles being blamed for Baker Mayfield right now? I think Baker Mayfield's taking a lot of the blame. Yeah, I think he's taking a lot of the blame.
Yeah, probably, because
I think
he's 8 years in,
but
and
when
you are who you are.
Yes, when you're excited about a player the first time out, well, it can't be the player's fault. It has to be the coach's fault. Okay, well, if he ends up in a new place and he sucks up the room, he gives a little bit of credit. Like, people wanted to give Sean McVay a little bit of credit for Baker starting to come back out and play well. They did.
Yeah. It just feels like every time, like the trope that's out there is that what quarterback has ever played well under Kevin? Well, if that's the argument you want to make, well, then you have to give him credit a little bit.
Yeah.
For Shadur. I don't think a lot.
It's just, it hasn't been sustained. There's been players that have played well under Kevin. It's just
And part of it is just, it's the Browns.
Yeah.
Like, Baker had a great year, and then it all went to hell, and we all know why. And Deshaun was mentally and emotionally broken when he got here.
Well, I'm going to ask that.
And then he was physically broken.
I'm going to ask that diabolical question again, too. I'm guarantee you that. Might want to ask Nathan Zgur that question coming up at 8:20. I don't know. Maybe I'll put him in a bad spot. But no, going back to Tommy Rees, like, I just feel he wants out of here on the first thing smoking. If your name keeps getting brought up and you're the offensive coordinator for the Browns, who have one of the worst offenses in the NFL, okay, that's all well and good. But if your name keeps getting brought up, I'm willing to think you have an agent that keeps putting your name out there. And I don't blame him for wanting out. It's not a good situation. But when it gets to the Michigan thing, I go, okay. Again, UCLA is believable. UNC last year, actually believable. There's some believable places. Michigan, Jason.
I don't think he's getting the job, but
obviously not.
Once your name goes into that cycle, it stays in that cycle. Like, why did Tommy come here in the first place? He's only been here 2 years.
Yes.
He knew what he was getting into. He knew he was walking into the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I think he wanted to. Well, what was the opportunity that he wanted? Wanted to work in the NFL.
It was a tight end. Well, actually, I think he's been here. What? Is this 3 years now? Actually, because it was a tight ends
coach here. Yes.
And then promoted to OC.
I mean, the pedigree is there. He's a young, offensive-minded guy.
Young.
He played quarterback at Notre Dame. Was his dad a coach? I think his dad was a coach.
Yeah.
The pedigree is there. I would understand why he'd be given a head coaching job. I just don't think at that time Michigan would be interested in him. If Michigan's interested in him and actually were to take him, God bless. But I just don't think he's on that list of actual names. Like, if Lyman and I were to discuss UCLA when that job was open, his name very well would have been in there. But Michigan, we talked about that job yesterday. His name wasn't in there. It didn't get brought up.
Well, I think he could be a very good college football coach at a very high level.
I think he'd be a good either way. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good coach in either spot.
Michigan is in a spot. I don't know who their hire is. Who's the home run hire?
I don't know if they. Is anybody a home run hire anymore just because of NIL? I mean, you can be a great head coach, but if you're not going to get the support of your boosters, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
216-474-0092. Okay, back to Miles. You have no problem if he's chasing sacks and they lose.
What else does he have to play for?
And you get gashed on the ground.
Why does it have to be one or the other?
Because the team you're playing averages a boatload of yards on the ground. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Can he come back within 2 area codes of the line of scrimmage? Can he line up within?
No.
I mean,
no.
So the reason,
because and
the
let me tell you
reason
what.
he lines up as wide as he does is to put pressure on the tackles.
Well, exactly. Like, is that the best use of him? Yeah. If that's the best use of him, like they've moved him all around the defensive line. That's where I think again Malik Collins being gone hurts, because now how much did I see him lined up as middle linebacker on Sunday against Tennessee? Was there much of it? Because we always like to highlight it when it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you don't have Malik Collins there to occupy the gap. Now, if you have Mo Hurst, I don't know when you're getting him involved, but now you're going to have people that are good at occupying gaps that now you can free him up. But you're going to use him at his very best. His very best is rushing the passer. So if he's lined up in the wide 67, then I almost said something different. I didn't want to say it. No, what if they line him up in the wide 69? Then fine. Just go ahead and rush the passer. That's fine. That's what they pay him for. That's what he's going to be on the billboards for, or that's why he's already on the billboards. That's what he's going to the Hall of Fame for. He wouldn't have gone to the Hall of Fame first ballot to be a good run-stopping edge player. You go there because you get the sacks, because you bother the quarterback, because the quarterback always has to know where 95 is. And so if they line him up in the wide 86 on Sunday, then fine, so be it. I'll live with it. It sucks to have that gap, but I'll live with it at this moment, because he is what he is. And if he gets sacks, he still turns 2nd and 6 into 3rd and 14. It still helps me.
Yeah.
216-474-0092. I want to get to Ryan. I want to get to Eric. I want to get to all you guys coming up. And yes, I am encouraged, but I'm trying my best to hold back because you guys know and I know I've been here before. That coming up at 7:30 on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Window Nation.
Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Shadur Sanders, Caleb Williams, Browns, Bears. This Sunday, kickoff at 1. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
Coming up at 7:45, I'm not embellishing here. This is going to be pretty crazy. There's already one NBA legend who thinks that Kenny Atkinson should already be on the hot seat, and he already has his replacement. I'll tell you who, coming up at 7:45 and about last night on The Fan. Also, Nathan Zagura going to join us at 8:22. I have an update on the diabolical question coming up here momentarily. However, I do want to remind you, text UH Rainbow. That's UH Rainbow, all one word, 34984. Text it to that number, 34984. 34984. Text it to that number. The 2025 Rainbow Radiothon is back. Star 102's Jen and Tim. It's today, going on right now. Jen and Tim, they're doing it up big. They're raising money for the kids over at UH Rainbow Babies and Children's. If you want to donate, give a couple of bucks. I don't know if they do coins anymore. I mean, they'll take anything. It's fine. Whatever you got, folks. It's that time of year. Just go to star102cleveland.com for a link where you can make a donation. Once again, text UH Rainbow to 34984. Wonderful people over there. Take care of the kiddos. We'll be talking about them all morning. Jen and Tim, again, also wonderful folks. Jen let me borrow some things from her when it came to my new truck. It's wonderful. They're good people over there. Tim's a great guy. Jen and Tim. You know they used to date each other.
I did not know that.
That's like their thing. They're like, yeah, we used to date. They lived with each other.
And now they do a show together?
And
they're no longer together.
And they're no longer together, and she is married, he is married with children of their own.
Wow.
Yep.
That would be...
Yep. And I know them both very well, and I'm like, I can't believe this was ever a thing. It was a long time ago. It was like the 20s. They talk about it all the time in the air. I'm allowed to say this. It feels like I'm...
Well, obviously.
Like you looked at me like, Ken, are you allowed to say this? I'm like, no.
Obviously, you're not going to say this.
It's a thing. It's like a thing that they talk about. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Like, they lived with each other, man. Like, that.
That's wild.
That's something. Now, I assume that at one point when Lima's the marriage fails, he'll live with me. So, but...
You got spare room for him?
Oh, yeah.
Couch?
Don't think I haven't thought about it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Because I was living in my current house when he got married, and I'm like, well, if this fails, I got room for him. And we can carpool in. And I'll save on the miles, and he'll save on the miles. It'll be great. And I already got small kids, and they'll all hang out when he has visitation.
So you really thought this through?
Hell yeah, I thought about it. Look at the guy.
Are you kind of amazed it's lasted this long?
No, I'm glad it's lasted this long, and I hope it lasts a lifetime. I didn't say I was surprised.
I didn't ask.
I said, no, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised it's lasted this long. And I hope it continues long into their lives. But I am always going to be prepared for what happens. I don't want people living in my house that don't have my name, that are not blood relatives to me, or sleep in the same bed as me. Lima's not going to sleep in the same bed as me, but go ahead.
The Carman family Christmas card is front and center in our kitchen.
Good. Let's not talk very much about it.
Made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. It was like right in the middle.
What do you mean throw up in your mouth?
I got to look at you right in the middle because my wife strings them up, right? Like, I don't know. Does Liz do that? Like all the cards you get, string them up?
She tapes them to the door.
All right. So we got them strung up over the windows in the, I don't even know what you would call it, wherever the table is. And yours is right in the middle. It's like, oh, God. Can we move this, please?
Why would you move it?
Why do you have to be in the center? You don't have to be
good in that picture.
No,
don't tell me I don't look good in that picture. I look great in that
sure
picture.
It's airbrushed.
What do you mean it's airbrushed? I'll show it to you right now. It's on Facebook, damn it.
I just don't know why you have to be in the middle.
Did you guys send out Christmas cards? You guys don't do it, do you?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Leslie sends
weird. I don't get Christmas cards from you.
Yes, you do. She sends them. Yes, you do. Because she just said she doesn't have you in the database. She has to handwrite it out. But she absolutely sends it because she sends like a letter with like the yearly
I'm not
update.
In the database.
Not in the database.
Great.
You're not in the database.
I didn't know that. It's amazing. We call each other and tell each other our deepest, darkest secrets during the week, at least once a week. But I'm not in the database.
But you handwrite those? Because I when she showed me, like, she flipped the envelope.
Oh, they're always handwritten.
I was like, oh, that's Ken's handwriting.
Yeah,
how many of those do you write?
I'm more than I should.
You know they have like labels for
No,
that.
I know, but I like writing them.
All right.
Because I know it, and they're done, and I have a couple of drinks while I do it.
All right.
So there you go.
Okay.
It gets a little bit more swirlier as I have a few more drinks.
Ours was pretty swirly.
It's like me.
We must have been at the end.
There you go. It's like me, and then Jack Daniels is helping me write it towards the end. So if you're like number. Actually, if you're my neighbors, they're always at the end because then I just have my son run around and hand them off in the houses.
Yeah.
Those are the drunkest written letters that you guys all get. 216-474-0092. Can I give you an update here? I cannot believe how many people agree with me about the diabolical question. There are a lot of people who agree with me about the diabolical question. Anthony Gallo over at WFAN agrees with me about the diabolical question. If you're just joining us on my answer, on even asking the question, on even asking it. And then there's another question that's brought up that you brought up that I might save for later on. But I might just do it now. It depends on what you do to me here. If you were to look at these guys today, Baker Mayfield struggled yesterday. Again, it's not been a good couple of months for him. He was an MVP candidate at one point. And I opened the show and I said to you, Jason, I hope he's injured and it's not that he can't handle success. Because the last time this started happening with him, he did have a shoulder injury. But he also, it's like, man, once you start doing commercials and once people start liking you and once Colin Cowherd and all of us are off your back, all of a sudden you just start messing up. Like you need to have people, like a legitimate media beef. You have to have it to play well. And I hope it's not that because that would be insane.
I heard that years ago about him. He only plays well when he's mad.
But a listener of ours, Chad in Westlake, sent me a message, and I woke up to it this morning. He sent it during the game, and I went, you know what? It's Friday, and I'm here for the listeners, and that's an incredible question, and I want to ask. I said, who has the higher ceiling? Would you say right now it's Baker Mayfield, or would you say Shadur Sanders? You didn't want to answer the question.
People in Cleveland are going to say Shadur because you always want to believe in the hope and the promise of
just because I'm in Cleveland, I'll go host the rest of the show in Youngstown. What do you want me to do?
Browns fans. Tampa fans.
I'm a Browns fan.
I don't know. Tampa fans may take Shadur right now.
I don't know, man.
2 weeks ago, they'd have taken Baker. 3 weeks ago, they'd have taken Baker.
I'm watching Mike Evans come back and put up 6 for 132 and a loss, and he can't find a Emeka Egbuka, and I think guys with no arms can find a Emeka Egbuka. I mean, you got a run game there. What more could you want?
What would your answer?
Was Chris Godwin available last night? I thought he had some catches, didn't he? Yeah, he had touchdown.
What would your answer have been a month ago?
I didn't see Shadur a month ago.
What would your answer have been a month ago?
It would have been Baker because I didn't even see Shadur a month ago.
So just a couple of games will swing you that much.
And this is why I wanted to say what I'm about to say coming up here.
Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Our good buddy, and there's been everybody thinks we just disagree with him or we just disagree with each other, and that's no. There's things that they say in the afternoon that I agree with. There's things that they say obviously we don't agree with. Jonathan is very excited about Shadur Sanders. And I'm excited I'm not as excited as Jonathan, I will admit that, and this is the reason why, is that I've been down this road before, and I've embarrassed myself many times before, because I want them to win.
Yeah.
We did this with Baker Mayfield. This is why he's the perfect comparison. And it ended terribly. And we've done revisionist history on this.
I haven't. You haven't.
The general population of Browns fans. I had a buddy who wrote on a Facebook thing, like right there about how terrible it was we gave up on Baker Mayfield. And all I had to do was go back and look to the dreaded 2021 season. I took the screenshot to him. I go, you just wrote 5 years ago, Baker Mayfield effing sucks.
Yeah.
That's what you wrote to me.
Yeah.
So don't give me that. This is revisionist.
Yeah.
And then he made it a joke last night because he sucked again last night and at the end. And I because we've been through this with him, because we've been through this where I told you, like, Deshaun Kaiser didn't even get a chance to get off the ground. It was a wasted pick.
Yeah.
And we've done that. It's just the one that came to my head. We've done this so many times. I'm so encouraged by what he did on Sunday, but I know we're nowhere near out of the woods yet. So if I'm soft pedaling a little bit, I know I'm getting cussed out by bots on the internet or people who just don't care about the Browns. They only care about him on the internet or whatever. Guys, I'm sorry. I've been through this a million times before. I'm going to play it slow. I've rushed into love before. I'm going to play it slow.
You've had your heart broken.
Yes, I think that this is a lot of fun. This is exciting. Seeing him play well on Sunday, even though they lost, was exciting. It's a lot of fun. Having arguments about whether or not a quarterback can be your guy every morning, I know that sometimes it's mind-numbing for you guys. It's a lot more fun than if they would have never drafted him and we were just with Dylan Gabriel or Bailey Zappi or maybe even Deshaun Watson at this time. This is a lot more fun than what it could have been. That pointed out, I'm going into every game still kind of holding my breath because the national conversation, I think the NFL conversation, Jason, hasn't changed yet. And he's got to do a lot over the next 4 games to change that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people don't want to accept that, but that's the truth. It's the truth. There's people who don't want to take a quarterback next year. There's people who don't like what the Browns have done to Shadur. They're big Shadur fans, and this is something they can agree on, that maybe they just don't want a quarterback next year because I think a lot of people feel my way is like, man, you're tired of falling in love with these guys and they end up being terrible for you. And you don't think the Browns are a good franchise that can settle it with these guys, but this is the way that the rest of the NFL thinks. Dane Brugler thinks you're going to trade up. We got some McShay audio for everybody coming up at 8 o'clock. Like,
what game's not going to change that? And here's what I said this to you off the air. Here's what I can't.
But that's why I think winning is so important because it could naturally take that out of their eye.
Take it out of their hands.
Take it out of their hands. For them. Yes.
So here, I said this. I was on with Nick and Jonathan the other day, and I said then, like, I haven't figured out. I don't know when was Shadur supposed to play? When was he supposed to play?
It feels to me like week 18 or never.
Well, no. So because like I wrote
what
this.
They were thinking.
I wrote this. I know Albert backed it up. I think Diana from our place had made reference to this earlier in the season. They were not going to play him this year. This was a, quote, redshirt year or whatever you want to call it. They were not going to play him.
Which I disagree with.
So with the notion of not playing him?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't going anywhere anyway. This has turned into a giant evaluation. I mean, you got Tevin Jenkins over there at right guard. Maybe he will end up being a guy, but if we're going to turn this into a giant evaluation, fine. Go. Okay. If he can't handle it to some level, put him out there. Sorry, I'm bogging it down.
Set that aside for a second. So if you were not going to play him this year, and then you were going to go back in the draft and you're going to take a quarterback next year, when were you going to play Shadur?
Oh, probably never.
Or was this just an idea of trying to create value of draft him in the 5th round? Because I wrote this. This is why I thought they made a mistake and why they should have gone to Philly or Baltimore. Because you're going to sit for a year, maybe 2, and then they'll turn around and flip you and get more than what they paid for. So in a year or 2, they can tell Schefter and Rappaport and all the other mouthpieces, wow, Shadur looks great. You should see all the progress he's made in progress.
Wow.
What else would you call him?
I'm just saying. I didn't think to hear it from a bona fide writer, but go right on ahead.
Well, I don't know what else to call him.
Tough talking Lloyd.
So
they
start running out
there.
Leather
jacket isn't even on.
Look how great he looks now in practice, and then you can trade him for a 3rd or a 2nd or whatever, and you've now created value.
And I still think that may actually happen.
Was that the Browns' plan?
I don't think so. I don't think it was.
Then when was he going to play?
I think their plan was, to be honest with you, I think their plan was they woke up on Saturday, they got to the 5th round, and they decided, you know what? If it's going to be a big evaluation year, we're just going to take him anyway, and we'll see what happens. And then that plan started to play out where how far behind is he? Is he far behind? Is he not far behind? Then they took Dylan Gabriel. We took this guy in the 3rd round, and then I think they created a mess.
Yeah.
Because this guy, the way he's playing now, it makes me upset that Dylan Gabriel ever saw the field. Because if I'm doing this through 7 games of Shadur Sanders, I could have played him against Minnesota maybe, and maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just genuinely was not ready to play against Minnesota. But I see a guy with a ceiling. I don't see any future with Dylan Gabriel. No offense to him, man, but I don't see it. And I would like to have more of a sample size so I can make sure. Because I still think by the end of this year, and we'll go into next year, I think them in that building, whether it's still them or certainly if there's new people coming, considering the way the rest of the NFL is thinking of him and that other people from other NFL teams will assume these positions, I think they'll just take a quarterback next year and we will start this all over again.
So, and again, I would go back to, you go back in real time. Friday night, they leave the draft, right? They've got 2 veterans and they've got Dylan.
Yes.
I don't think anybody thought Dylan was the quarterback for the next 10 years, even when they took him. Now, you can have that argument that why would you take a guy
in the 3rd round?
Well, you're looking at me like I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I mean, they've taken guys in the 3rd round that have been linebackers for him and cornerbacks for him for half a dozen years.
But not that position.
But why take him then? If
that's a fair question. That's a fair question.
We sit there and we bitch about all these things that they need, and we go ahead and we take an undersized quarterback that really can't run the offense, but he's supposed to have a supercomputer brain, and a guy that we came out and admitted we don't think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the league. We think he's a career backup. Oh, we're in a position to take a guy like that in the 3rd round.
But
I forgot we were so successful recently.
But my point is, when they left the draft Friday night, they had 2 veterans ahead of them. Dylan probably wasn't going to see the field this year. Friday night. So I'm just making an assumption here. They took Dylan thinking, well, he can be the backup here for the next 5, 6, whatever, however many years. He'll be a career backup. We'll maybe get a look at him this year. Maybe we won't. And then they'll go back in the draft the following year and take their starting quarterback. And was anyone going to be clamoring for Dylan Gabriel to play if you have Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett in front of him? No, probably not.
No.
So I get that. Like, I kind of understand that.
I'm not yelling at you for it. I mean,
and then the grenade
it doesn't
came,
make sense, but the timeline lines up.
Then the grenade came Saturday.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
That pointed out, I bring up ceiling, and you can roll your eyes.
No, I agree. I think it's totally fair to say, why would you use the top 100 pick?
And I bring it up all the time when I talk to, I almost have to do like prayer sessions with very upset Browns fans if I'm out and about. And I always point to, I go, if the Saints go win a Super Bowl by accident, literally by accident, I go, yeah, I mean, best laid plans, and you could fall bass backwards into it, and we've tried everything else. It's almost the way that I think it's going to happen, is that, yeah, he takes Shadur Sanders, and he becomes this lightning rod for controversy, not by anything he's done, but he becomes this lightning rod for controversy, and wouldn't you know, he ends up being your quarterback.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be that way. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get out of their own way if that's the way it goes. And I don't know how much he's going to be able to prove over the next 4 games if somebody else comes in, or even if they stay, if they're in that position to take a quarterback. And so I soft pedal all this because, guys, I can rant and rave all I want. I'm getting this weird feeling we might be in the same position coming up in April. 216-474-0092. Nathan Zagura, 820. Coming up in 5 minutes, there is an NBA legend that thinks Kenny Atkinson should already be on the hot seat, and he already has a replacement. Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd, in for Tone on the Fan, Tom Merriman and Merriman Legal.
earlier on in today's show. Now, Tommy Rees, according to reports, may be of interest to the University of Michigan following their firing of Sharon Moore. Rees was asked about Michigan in yesterday's press conference, in which he was already addressing the talks of him in Penn State from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm really focused on trying to play good offensive football, get a young quarterback ready to play, support our players. And like some of those things are flattering and you listen as a competitor, but for me, like my focus is really how can we go score enough points to win a game. That's really where my focus is right now.
Any interest in the Michigan game?
I'm going to just keep my focus here right now.
Sure. I think your focus is on Zestimance in the greater Ann Arbor area, or the greater Los Angeles area, or the greater North Carolina area.
Did he buy
I should
here?
say Durham, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. What?
Did he buy here or is he renting here?
I don't know. I don't know him that well at all. I did a couple events with him, but I don't know him.
Just curious.
Very well.
I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
Well,
he might be finding a Zestimate here if this season continues to go the way it goes, because they could. I'm telling you, if Shadur keeps doing well and they keep losing, who's working well with the quarterback? Well, let's put in Tommy Rees. So maybe he's going to end up living here. East side, west side. That's going to be the debate. Which one's he going to choose?
Oh, I
choose
remember
wisely. The one who's been here longest. Now let's see. Kevin's west side, and he's been here a nice long time. So maybe it does him better to be on the west side. Last two guys before that were on the east side. Didn't go well for them.
Yeah.
Didn't win many games.
I don't know beyond that. I don't remember. I wasn't around.
I think there were some south sides, like Strongsville.
Well, Bill Cowher's house is in Strongsville.
Well, he's got like a whole compound now with many houses. Go ahead.
I was going to say, have you ever made like a chart of like where all the coaches lived at and saw like the ratio of when they were successful? And
well, most of them weren't here long enough to.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. There could be so many head coaches.
Is there any farmland left in Strongsville?
Maybe on 82.
So tell a farmer, make a gag. Get a sign, unincorporated Cower, Ohio. Make a gag.
We got Cavaliers basketball tonight for the first time in just under a week. The Cavaliers will face the Wizards this evening. However, some talk about them yesterday from the KG Certified podcast. This is Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett talking about who one of them believes the Cavaliers' next head coach should be.
You know who could use T. Lue? No, I'll tell you this. I said this other day. I think who could use T. Lue right now? Cleveland can go. He need to go back to Cleveland because the Cleveland team is looking underachieving right now.
They won 64 games last year, though.
Yeah, but they're not on that pace this year.
I know.
We're talking about this year. Yeah, I'm just saying. You bring in a championship coach now to get him over the hump, like when Detroit brought in Larry Brown.
Should the Cavaliers consider, if they move on from Kenny Atkinson,
what is this if? Why is there even an if? What hot seat is he on?
I'm trying to specify if. That's so I'm not saying it's going to happen.
He should not be on any sort of hot seat. And I love Ty. Ty's my guy.
Great, good. Well, you sound like me and Kevin. Like I like Kevin, but I got to say some things here.
You are so inappropriate with the Culligan, man. You are so inappropriate with that.
It bothers you.
Well,
I'll stop if it really bothers you. I'll stop.
Do you think it really bothers me? I mean, come on.
Seems like you just said I'm really inappropriate.
You are. It's totally ridiculous.
And tell me why.
Because
tell me why.
No. Because that didn't happen last night. We're doing about last night. No, you're not going to bait me.
I'm not.
Okay, 801. You're going to have to come up with an answer. So whatever.
It's ridiculous. I like Ty. I think Ty's a really good coach.
What's the Clippers record?
Have you paid attention to what's going on in Los Angeles?
They had to throw. Wait a minute. Are you talking about the fake companies?
Between
or are
the
you
aspiration stuff and between
allegedly.
Well, the aspiration stuff's not allegedly.
Yeah,
you're right.
Is that the same thing as the fake companies? Because you're using words that I don't know. I'm gonna take them as disrespect.
The tree company.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's how you know it. The tree company.
Yeah.
All
thank you. You use terms that I understood.
They're 6-19, by the way.
And
they're terrible.
And
you got a player on your team they call street clothes. What are you talking about? Now I want to bring in Ty Lue.
Ty would
bring
not
back
be back
Ty Lue. No, he won't be back here.
Nor should he, because Kenny has done a fine job.
Finally, here we have a story that we don't get to talk a lot about NASCAR on here, but this is from yesterday. Michael Jordan involved in an antitrust lawsuit between his racing team and NASCAR. He had comments on the settlement.
When you get to the finish line, sometimes you have to think, not just for yourself, but you got to think about the sport as a whole. And I think both parties got to that point, and we realized that we could have an opportunity to settle this, and we dove in, and we actually did it. Unfortunately, it took us that long, but we got here. That's all that matters.
As a NASCAR fan, thank you for putting this in for me, Mitch. I love what Michael Jordan did.
I don't even know what he did.
They came up with some phony baloney charter system NASCAR did, which was just basically a way to squeeze more money out of the owners, and they're squeezing all the money anyway. Because NASCAR is not owned by the owners. Like the NFL is a trust of owners.
Yeah.
They don't have that. It's owned by a family. But you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And with the way they've set things up, it's basically they are throwing money into wells that just go to NASCAR, and the owners aren't getting anything out of it. Like there was a time you used to be able to get real rich racing cars. Ain't like that now. Not with NASCAR anyway.
What family owns NASCAR?
The France family.
Never knew that.
And like a lot of family dynasties, the beginning and right under really, really good. But now you're in like the fourth generation, and they don't know because they're not hungry, so they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's a mess. And I could go on, but we don't have time for it. I just want to thank Mitch for putting it in because, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that with what they've done with the settlements, from what I've seen, the permanent charters now, some of the things that were inequitable that now have been the inequities that have been now made a little bit equitable. I think for regular Joes, maybe like me, maybe Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin might have saved NASCAR.
All right.
And by the way, if we're going to do legend versus legend, sorry, LeBron, that's a check in Michael Jordan's box for me. LeBron, you're going to have to bring in a salary floor and a salary cap for Major League Baseball, buddy. It's just now that's what you have to do.
That's it for About Last Night.
Outstanding as always. By the way, the arguments about LeBron and Michael Jordan, and then, of course, he ain't on no hot seat, is he?
Who?
Kenny?
Man.
Oh, that took you way too long. What do you know?
Man, he won 64 games last year.
Okay, I'm just making sure because he took you a while.
This is a good team.
Tyler,
he should.
Why is Paul Pierce saying that then?
I don't know, Paul. I didn't talk to him. I think Paul's tight with Ty. I think Paul's probably trying to get Ty out of L.A., which after last night might be happening sooner than later. Okay. They had a bad loss last night. They had a really bad loss.
The Cavs update brought to you by Surfside. The fine folks at Surfside ask you to please drink responsibly. Coming up in just over 20 minutes, Nathan Zagura going to join us on the show. Coming up next, you're going to answer that question about the Culligan man. And Shadur may have to save the Browns from themselves. Let me explain. Coming up in 5 on The Fan.
Rewind, weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
David Aldridge, 9 a.m. from The Athletic, NBA, longtime NBA writer and reporter and insider. He'll join us coming up at 9 a.m. Nathan Zagura, just in 20 minutes. Yep, we flip-flopped him. Jason's with us today. Jason Lloyd, he's in for Anthony Lima. That's why we will not be doing Coming In Hot at 9:45.
Why, you don't trust me?
That's exactly the reason, because I think you're a little bit soft, and I don't know if you could take it.
Oh,
you called me you said I was inappropriate for calling you the Culligan man. Now I think that I think that all of a sudden you have feelings now.
Oh, please.
Maybe that's your third midlife crisis. Why am I inappropriate to call you the Culligan man?
Well, my wife texted and said she absolutely sent you a Christmas card. So check your mail.
I don't really look at the door. And I have never got the mail in my current home. No.
Well, ask Liz.
That is not my job, and I will not do it.
So why am I the Culligan man? Why?
Because I think it's funny to call you the Culligan man as a guy who carries water for Kevin Stefanski. I think it's a hilarious thing to do.
So how do I carry water?
And because you're one of the guys that I can make fun of for carrying water for a franchise, and you'll still talk to me. Unlike certain people out there.
But
you can't say anymore because then Keith Britton's going to make my life a living hell, and it's Friday, and I'd like to get home on time.
You know what's the beauty of my current role? I can say whatever I want, and I don't have to.
Congratulations on all your success.
But wait, no.
Because I can't say whatever I want.
When you're a beat writer, you are. There's different parameters and different rules. Of what you can and can't say. I'm not a beat writer.
One of them has changed the water coolers over there at 76 Lou Groza for Kevin.
I'm not a beat writer, so I can say whatever I want. I happen to think he's a pretty good coach.
Oh, you do
who's been put in a bad spot. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I think he's a better coach than what he... I don't know, man.
Are you a Culligan man now? There's a water bottle out there. I
couldn't even get to the end of the sentence before I disagreed with myself. So what do you... How am I supposed to answer the question? How am I supposed to answer the question?
So you don't think he's a good coach? Then fire him. Fire him.
Hold on.
Say right now you want him fired because he's not a good coach.
No.
Well, you just told me.
I think there's... Hold on. I think there's been... Don't you turn this around on me, you bastard. Don't you do that.
You're the one who wanted to walk into it. Well, here you go.
Well, you're the Culligan man.
Is he a good coach who's put in a bad spot, or is he a bad coach?
Yeah, but I think he's helped put himself in that bad spot. I think things run their course.
He has not helped himself.
That's the only thing I'm trying to say.
So is he a good coach or a bad coach?
I was trying to articulate it the right way.
Is he a good coach or a bad coach?
I think he's a fair coach right now. I think that these are moving targets. I think that a guy like John Fox is a good coach in one place, not so good in another. I think, damn it, who's that?
And there's only been 478 coaches in the history of the NFL.
Frank Reich. Frank Reich did well in one place. He didn't do well in the other. And then he did a pretty damn good job at Stanford, got to tell you. Did a pretty damn good job. Matt Rule was a moron and a goofball and an idiot at Carolina. Did a pretty fine job over at Baylor. I do think that there are... I think it's hard to find bad coaches.
My shirt's inside out. I just realized.
Good.
Look at this.
I didn't even notice.
I got dressed in the dark.
I didn't even notice.
The shirt's on inside out.
You pulled the Andy Roth. 6 people got that, and they're all laughing, and that's what matters to me. He has 11 points. So Nathan is going to join us at 8:20. I think it's hard to find a lot of bad coaches. I think there's coaches who are in bad spots, and then it's like, how do you handle it?
Okay.
I think that's the test of a coach. I know there's a lot of coaches right now listening to this, and they'll probably agree with me.
So I actually agree with that.
There's only a few bad coaches.
So I was telling you off the air.
One of them's name is Hugh. No, I'm kidding.
I was telling you off the air about a conversation I was having with somebody from the NBA. And one of the things we were talking about, I thought this was really, he's like, coaches are coaches. Like, most coaches are about the same. Like, there's no great mysteries out there to unlock in any of these sports. Like, the game is the game, and it's, and you could say about the same for GMs. Obviously, some have a better eye for talent than others. But what makes organizations good or bad is ownership. Ownership is what sets the propeller for all of these organizations. Yeah. Like, why is it that the Eagles are always good?
Well, they usually have their ownership setting the propeller for the organization.
And why is the Browns always bad?
Well, because we tend to be pretty desperate over here.
But I'm just saying, like, you could switch out the coaches. A lot of time, and that's the point I've been trying to make for the last year or two or whatever, is that I actually think Kevin, 6 wins isn't good enough. And if he's fired at the end of the year, I'm going to say, all right, well, you won 6 games. Can't really argue that. I have not defended or tried to defend keeping him for like the last year and a half. I still think he's a pretty good coach.
Do you think the team still plays for him?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Because do you think that...
Here's what I think.
Do you think there's a fracture in the locker room and how they feel about it?
I think that there's probably defensive guys who are over it, who want to change. I think the offensive guys still buy in. And I think a lot of the guys on offense are too young to know any better. So they're just going to...
I think I can agree with all that. With all that.
I'm sure there are guys on the defensive side who are like, yeah, that's enough.
But that's why I say, like, it would not surprise me if Kevin Stefanski were to leave here and end up with another team and make playoff runs.
Yeah.
And it also wouldn't surprise me if another guy got here and all of a sudden we end up in the playoffs 3 times in a row. Like, I think there are good situations, or the next guy comes in here and he just sucks up the room too, and we call him an idiot and scream and yell and all the other things. I think that there are good situations, and I think that sometimes the good situation comes bad situations. Mike Tomlin's been the head coach in Pittsburgh for 18 or 19 years now. It hasn't always been good, and right now it isn't that great.
Right.
It doesn't always stay great. Some guys, they get out while the getting's good. Nick Saban went out a legend. There was no weird, bad years at the end where they're like, like you always talk about, like, guy, and I know I'm going into the weeds with this trying to answer a question, like, Woody Hayes, the last few years, there's a game getting away from him. Then he punched a guy in the throat. Like, sometimes maybe you get out while the getting's good. Saban got out while the getting's good. Maybe Tomlin, maybe they'll go to the playoffs this year and he goes, you know what, walking away from each other, it's been a great near 20 years together. God bless each other, and we move on, and he ends up in their Ring of Honor or whatever. And he got out maybe while the getting was okay. You can do that.
I do think a coach can lose his voice over time.
Yes.
We saw it in Philly with Andy Reid.
Yes.
And frankly, we saw it in Cleveland with Terry Francona, where it was time for a break. It was time for a break, and it was time for something new.
Yeah, probably.
So,
and he went out probably on a best note that he could leave out on.
For sure.
And I know he's dealing with health issues, but you get what I'm pointing at.
So I do agree that, like, there comes a time where it's just time. It's just time to move on. I think a lot of Kevin's issues can be traced back to the Deshaun trade. And so...
Keep going.
So do you hold that against him?
As far as?
Well, look what he's had to work with at quarterback for the last 2 years. When you win 11 games with 5 different quarterbacks, and I know I'm going back 2 years, and people are like, well, that's 2 years ago. Okay, well, I still have to hear from people who say Deshaun Watson was good 5 years ago. So I'm going back 2 years ago.
I know.
When you had a top receiver in Amari Cooper.
And if this were last year, that's fine, but I can't victimize for too long.
And I get that. Which is why if they fire him, I'll say, okay, well, I understand.
And I don't want to swing the pendulum too much because I think some of us might be making a mistake. That's why I'm soft pedaling this a little bit. Like, I'm excited and encouraged by what Shadur did on Sunday.
Yeah.
But like if he goes out there and he sucks up the room against Chicago, I think there's going to be some more understanding, but I think it's going to bring some of us back down to earth. If he goes up there and does well against Chicago and then continues to do well, I have to hold him accountable and say, why was Dylan Gabriel out there? And you can give me all the answers you want. You picked wrong and your name's still on the door.
Yeah.
If your name's on the show or your name's on the article or your name's on the door, you're answer for it.
Absolutely.
You're responsible for it. So it might not be fair. And there might be things that we find out in the next couple of years and he's Tennessee or New York or God knows where. And I might say, yeah, we got that wrong. We weren't right about that. And this was unfair. That's a league. That's a league. Tom Coughlin gets out of Jacksonville, did a good job. It ran its course. He goes and he wins 2 Super Bowls in New York. Like, I think there are good coaches. I think there's some bad coaches out there. I think there's a lot of good coaches and times just run their course. Yeah. And I think that right now, it's not about the fans screaming and yelling. It's not about me screaming and yelling. Where are the young people at in your locker room? Where are the young talented people that you plan to keep in your locker room? Does he still get their attention?
Yeah, because they're young and they don't know any better.
You're mentioning the offense, but I'm looking at the defense and going, most of my talent is on the defense. And if most of my talent on the defense is kind of going, yeah, we've been doing this a while, then I think that probably that's when you start to do it. But I'm not going to listen to Kenny Carman or Bob and Parma or whatever to make the decisions over my football team here.
And here's what I told you off the air. Somebody I was talking to, I thought it was a great point. What your role as the owner is to set the culture of the organization.
And if you allow the GM or the head coach to set who you are and what you stand for, then it's going to change every time you make a change.
And I think they've made that mistake before.
Absolutely, they've made that. So what do the Browns? What do you stand for? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What are your values as an organization? Can you even say what they are for the Cleveland Browns? I can't.
Like, one word comes to mind.
Desperation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not.
That's the exact word.
But that's the owner's job.
Well, they're desperate for Kayla couldn't believe what I said. They're desperate for a quarterback, Kayla. Look what they've done.
And also, do you have, if you believe in a guy, if you believe in, and if you believe you have the right guy, do you have the guts to hang in there and the discipline to hang in there when the entire town and everybody in the media is saying you got the wrong guy and he needs to go?
I think you're about to find out.
Do you have the guts? Now, I will say they kept Hugh after 1-31.
I understand that. And that wasn't a popular move.
And then they wound up firing him. And then they take the quarterback and then they fire him halfway through his rookie year. And that started another whole spiral. But
I think I know why teams do that, but that's an excuse. That's not a reason, because I don't like it when they do that.
So do you have the guts and the discipline to hang in there if you believe you got the right guy? Can you be there when the franchise needs you most? Because right now, right now the franchise needs their owner.
If I really believe that, right now I question. So I need to set. If I own the Browns, I question what's going on here. I question the things I'm hearing. I'm questioning, and I have to start I got the list right there. I have to start writing down names. I wonder why am I hearing all these things about how he'd find these landing spots? Why is that? Well, I got to start questioning whether or not you want to be here. So now I got to wonder about that. You're asking me, I'm giving you an answer here. So I want to know after the end of the season, you even want to be here?
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a clean break here? Because we can get agents involved here, and we can write up.
Yep.
We can write up agreements.
Yep.
But then I got to get my franchise ready. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with Andrew Berry, because I don't think any owner, and if I was an owner, my last thing I ever want to do is fire anybody. I think that's something that we all dream of because we want action. We want people to answer for our anger. I think that 99% of the time, if anybody's ever been fired out of anger, it always backfires. It always backfires. I can't fire anybody out of anger. I don't like talking about firing people, obviously. People call me out for that.
Yeah.
I don't like firing anybody out of anger. I won't do it. That's why I got to wait until the end of the year. If we get to the end of the year and this just simply is not working, and I am convinced of it, fine. But if your plan is to take another quarterback, well, then probably I'm moving on.
One thing I've learned in 25 years of doing this, owners don't want to be portrayed as they care less than the fans. Like, I think that's the Dolan's problem, is they are portrayed that they care, that the fans care more than they do.
I think that's the belief, yes.
And so that's so what recourse does an owner have to show that he's invested and that he cares? He can spend and he can fire.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's why I think some of these guys wind up getting fired, is because ownership feels like, well, I got to do something. When sometimes the best thing, and I'm not saying that for this situation, because I really don't know. Sometimes the best course of action is to stay the course.
I actually got to tell you about something here. 4 minutes ago.
Oh, boy. What?
Freddie Kitchens will not return as North Carolina's offensive coordinator next season.
I mean, you're really shocked by that?
You want him back. 216-474.
Oh, Lord. I will get in my car if we do that one.
Should I just try to troll Jason until he leaves the show? 216.
3 games into Freddie's year. 3 games in.
What?
Said something ain't right.
I know.
Or maybe it was 2. It was the Rams game. It was the Monday night Rams game.
No, it was the 3rd game because you called me and I was on my back deck after that game. It was that day. You called me that day.
I remember. I called you.
You called me that day.
I called you from Baltimore.
I was on my back. What?
And
No.
they won.
Okay. So what day was that? Because you called me after the game and I was all excited and you were acting like there was bad things going on.
I knew it was over.
And I was upset. I was mad at you for telling me the truth.
You can vouch for me that I knew it was over after like 3 games.
My neighbor Bob had to be sitting on his back deck going, I don't know why he's so mad, but he's cussing somebody out over something. I was just mad because you told me the bad news.
That was a disaster from the start.
9 o'clock, David Aldridge is going to join us on the show. Up next, Nathan Zagura. Can you evaluate your quarterback, your rookie QB, in negative 20-degree weather? I'm going to get that answer from Nathan coming up in 5 on The Fan.
and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
When you want the latest on the Browns, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
What do the Browns and Falcons have in common? Well, I'll tell you coming up here in just a moment with Nathan Zagura, who's about to join us on the Fan Hotline. However, I want you to remember, you can text UH Rainbow, all one word, UH Rainbow, to 34984. That's 34984. It's the 2025 Rainbow Radiothon. Join Star 102, Jen and Tim. Today, they're raising money for the kids at UH Rainbow Babies and Children's. Get on over there. Star102cleveland.com. That's star102cleveland.com. They got a link where you can make a donation, or you can text UH Rainbow to 34984. Wonderful cause, wonderful people doing wonderful things. Going on all day long today. The Rainbow Radiothon over at our sister station, Star 102. Let's bring in Nathan Zagura, who joins us right now on the Fan Hotline. Nathan, thank you very much for moving for us, being so gracious with your time, and hopefully you'll be gracious with this answer. You know what the Falcons and Browns have in common? They both went for 2, down 14. It's a unpopular thing with the fans, but that's what the analytics say.
Yes. Is there a question in there, Ken?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Do you disagree? Do you think that we should redo the analytics? Okay, Alex Mack. Coming out at me with a quiz or a question in there. Okay, is that how we're going to start it?
Give him hell, Nathan. I'm sick of listening to him.
First of all, I bet you it's early in the morning for that, Jason. You got to buckle up there.
He had me ready to walk out at 6:10, but anyway, I digress.
It's like 6:07.
First of all, let me say this. Last night was a uniform purist like myself delight. That was one of the most beautiful uniform matchups I think that you will ever see.
Yeah, you made fun of me.
I think, I'm not making fun of you. I'm a big uniform guy. Siciliano, he's like, all you care about is uniforms. I said, the uniforms are very important. I thought that was a beautiful game. I enjoyed your tweet about it as well. It really captured my soul and my gut and took me back to a simpler time.
Good.
However, the question you didn't ask but asked, look, here's the thing. They have modeled this out, and football's not played in models, but the logic behind it is this. That at the time you go down 8, so you're down 14, you score a touchdown, you get 6, you're down 8, that the win probability increase from hitting the 2-point conversion at that time is significantly higher than the win probability decrease from not getting the 2. Now, one of the things that's kind of an assumption in this model is that teams are about 50% or a little bit better than that historically on 2-point conversion tries. Now, we could talk about our game and the Falcons game, 0 for 4 right there. So that makes it a little more difficult. However, in that standpoint, the Falcons had the knowledge, right, that they were going to need to get another possession and get a field goal, which they did. They end up winning the game. It's one of those things that I think when it works, nobody talks about it, and it's genius, and we've seen teams win, and when it doesn't work, it's going to get questioned.
Yes.
I always kind of liken it to, you can make the right decision, but you don't necessarily always get the right outcome. And I say for people who like to go to the casino and play blackjack, you're going to double down with an 11 against a 6. That's the right thing to do. It's also not a guarantee that it's going to work. And guess what? If it doesn't work, they're still going to take your money. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. I understand the process of it. It's the execution of it that then calls into question the process, because people say, well, if you kick the extra point, we're tied and we're a better team than Titans. You go and you beat the Titans. So I get both sides of it, but that's the rationale behind it.
But the thinking changed when they moved back the extra point, because that changed everything.
Of course, because now the extra point is not a 100%er.
Right.
And so you're factoring in, let's call it 96%, right? So 96 times 2, 96% times 2 is slightly under 2, and over 50% times out of 2 plus 2 is going to be more than 2. So in reality, there is a thought process that actually is a way to generate more points for your team. You just have to execute on the 2-point conversions, and then nobody's talking about it.
So is it, last thing on this, and we'll move on, is it more, in your opinion, that the extra point is no longer a sure thing, or is it trying to avoid overtime?
I think it is trying to win. I think you're doing it to win, because I think that's the key in there, is that again, and football's not played in computer simulations, but that the win probability increase that you get, it's like saying, would you be willing to risk $1 to make $5 if it was kind of almost an even situation in the outcome? And that's the thought process, because the win probability gain from hitting that first two vastly outweighs the win probability decrease from not getting it. And so that's the logic behind it. Again, when it doesn't work out, people are not going to be happy about it. Just like as we've seen, though, missed extra points. Go back to week 1 this season. So they certainly aren't a sure thing, but that's kind of the logic behind it.
We got the great Nathan Zagura joining us here on the Fan Hotline. I'm just going to start off with the NFL stuff before, because now we're hot on it.
Okay.
What have you thought of Baker over the last month? What did you think of Baker last night? Are you seeing some of the same things that he did when he was injured here in Cleveland in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've talked about this, and I remember Lima couldn't be happier to talk about it through 6 weeks in the season. But the reality is, I think we all kind of know what kind of a quarterback Baker Mayfield is. And when he plays great, he can be really, really good amongst the best. But he has some lulls. And some of these lulls, by the way, in this season have happened well before his shoulder was injured. I think Baker Mayfield I liken it to when, I think he's better than this, by the way, but when the Bengals had Andy Dalton. Baker Mayfield, I think, is absolutely good enough to win a division in the right division and to take his team to the playoffs. I don't think that Baker Mayfield, I think that's the calculation of a lot of people. Now you're all of a sudden seeing articles, do the Bucs have a big decision coming up at the end of this year? Because I don't think that necessarily he's good enough to take you all the way to and win a Super Bowl. But he's a darn good quarterback. He can be prolific in terms of his numbers. But when he runs into problems, and it was really good at the beginning of this year, there was a little bit of an outlier, kind of those last end of game drives and game winning drives. He kind of had an anomaly season in terms of how good he was at that early this year, and now we're seeing a little bit of a regression to the norm, and that's kind of what it is. You see a guy who I think is a tremendous front runner, a tremendous talent. Sometimes I think almost is too much of a competitor in spite of himself, as you pointed out with the injuries that happened here in 2021 and perhaps whatever's happening now. But at the same time, there is going to be kind of these peaks and valleys, and unfortunately sometimes in the more important situations, you get some of those valleys.
What did you like best about Shadur on Sunday?
I like, just kind of in the whole experience, but it'll tie into your question there, is that every week it feels like there's something that they really want him to work on and emphasize, and he puts in the work, and then he takes it onto the field and does it. And so last week, to me, coming out of the 49ers game, anybody who watched the tape in the second half would say, okay, you've got to have your feet ready, and you've got to be willing to throw with anticipation in the middle of the field and just rip it. And then I thought I saw him do that. I thought we saw him do that against the Tennessee Titans. And so that was so encouraging to me. All the things I liked about him on tape, and you can go back, and Ken certainly knows, and you know as well, like just watching his college tape and not knowing any of the other things about how interviews went or anything like that, but going to the combine, I wanted to take Shadur at number 2. Because I loved his accuracy, his ball placement, which we certainly saw in this game. And people are saying, oh, look at all the yards after the catch. Well, yeah, part of that is because the quarterback is putting the ball in a spot where not only do the receivers not have to slow down, but he's almost accelerating them up the field. And so you're seeing perfect ball placement. You also saw it on the tight window throw to David Njoku. Could he have thrown it to Harold Fannin wide open? Of course. Will he get there? Yes. But sometimes when you have a guy that just is that good and can put the ball where he wants, it doesn't matter. And he's able to get that touchdown to David Njoku. And then the other thing is his willingness to stand in the pocket. And now I think we've seen just from the Rams game to the Ravens game to where he is now in terms of his willingness to kind of climb the pocket and not kind of run out of the pocket. He's gotten so much better at that, but his willingness to stand in the pocket, stare down the barrel, know he's going to take a hit. He was hit 14 times in that game, guys. He was pressured over 63% of the time. That was one of the highest hit rates in the NFL this season, and it was also the second highest pressure rate this season. Herbert was pressured more once in a game earlier this year. But his willingness to stand there, look down the barrel, and deliver the football. Go watch the throw to Harold Fannin up the right sideline. He knows he's going to get smoked, and he stands in there and delivers it. So I loved what I saw about him. You saw a guy who can win from the pocket. And then here's the key to me in the National Football League. Can your quarterback throw the ball when the other team knows you need to throw the ball? And if you go look at those last 2 drives, he goes 10-13, leads you down the field for over 60 yards for a touchdown that he runs in, and then he gets the 80-yard drive where he caps it off with a touchdown to Harold Fannin. They knew the Browns had to pass in those situations, and he still was able to do it. So I thought that was all very encouraging for Shadur Sanders.
Nathan Zgura joining us on the Fan Hotline. It's going to be cold on Sunday. Do you change your evaluation at all of Shadur because of the weather?
I think we watch how the game is played, right? Like, if you go back a couple of years ago and you look at, when we played the Saints on that Christmas Eve game, and you saw how both quarterbacks and really the entire passing operation for both teams was completely compromised, then you would say, okay, yeah, we have to throw that out. So let's see how it affects both teams. But listen, Shador's been in Colorado. It's a different kind of cold, I'd imagine, in there in Chicago. But it was cold last week. Like, it wasn't warm last week against Tennessee, and he threw the ball very well. In fact, I thought, and it's tough to evaluate Cam Ward, who made some unbelievable throws while getting hit in that game, and doesn't have a great supporting cast, but I thought Shadur Sanders outplayed him. Let's see what he does now against Caleb Williams, back-to-back games against the number 1 overall pick. So let's see how that affects it. My guess is you're going to want to lean more into the run. We know the Bears are going to run the football. They've got DeAndre Swift, they got Kyle Monangai, and they are the number 2 rushing offense in the NFL. And the Browns right now, battered on that defensive line in the middle, they're going to have to answer the bell, because we all know that Chicago saw what Tony Pollard did, had a career day, had 2 runs longer than his longest run of the season. So we're going to have to clean that up. But I think it's going to be more of a run game than necessarily an air it out game. But we'll see. Maybe we get there. It's a little bit warmer. The wind isn't as bad as we expect. And then we're able to go and throw the ball around the yard. Because I do think that when you look at this Bears defense, you do have the opportunity to run the ball. They're giving up over 5 yards a carry this season. And then their secondary is not great. But what they are great at is taking the football away. 18 interceptions this year, most in the NFL, 27 total takeaways, again, most in the NFL. So this is going to be a game where protecting the football, I think, is incredibly important.
We were talking about Malik Collins earlier. How big of a loss do you think that was last week with the way the way Tennessee was able to run the ball and then going forward for the rest of the season?
I mean, he was playing, I think, honestly, at an all-pro level, or certainly a Pro Bowl level. At the time he was hurt, he was leading all interior defensive players in sacks and in pressure rate. And now, Jeffrey Simmons has passed him because Malik's not playing. We saw him last week, but he was playing on that kind of a level. And when you add that in, not only to how well he was playing the pass, but also how well he was playing the run, how that was impacting things in the middle of the field and helping Myles Garrett, I think it was a massive loss. And I think they took advantage of, some of the times that we're trying to really get up the field. And Malik was just, with his strength, was so good at kind of making those plays. And then you had Mason playing off Malik. All of a sudden, Malik's out. Mason's dealing with a rib injury. Shelby gets added to the injury report yesterday. Mike Hall's still kind of working himself back. Aiden Huntington is out. We know Malik's out for the year. And now you got Sam Kamara in there. So our line went from being incredibly deep in the middle to all of a sudden not as much. And I think that, when we sometimes either don't set the edge on the outside, which we see at times, or sometimes we kind of get too far up the field on the outside and they're able to run in that gap behind it, that's when some big runs happen. And Tennessee did a good job. Now, that's on tape. The Browns have it on tape. And I'm sure that Chicago is going to try some of those things against us. And why wouldn't they? But I think we've got to be better prepared for it and hopefully have an answer. But we really don't know. I mean, you look at the interior of the lines on both sides of the football, it's a little scary right now, especially going into a game like this against the Chicago Bears. I outlined what's going on that defensive line, but on the offensive line right now, we know Wyatt Teller's out. Postic's out for the season, so Whippler's going to start at center. But Tonio hasn't practiced all week. Now, he says that he'll see how he wakes up and feels, and hopefully he's able to practice today. Tevin Jenkins was added to the injury report yesterday with a shoulder injury. Zach Zinter was added to the injury report yesterday with a back and didn't practice. So Jeremiah Byers, who we just picked up just this week, who was no NFL action.
I've never heard of him, ever.
Me neither. It's possible that he could start at guard for us this week. So it's getting tough. Our injury list is long. It is distinguished, and the Bears have a very short one. That's going to be a big story in this game, I think, as well.
Nathan Zgura joining us on the show. Well, now, I got to have some healthy guys because I got to evaluate this kid. I got 4 games left to go in this season. You know what everybody's thinking they're going to do, at least the draft guys out there. Like, that sucks. It sucks to hear that, Nathan. And I'm blaming you. You didn't do anything.
To do what?
Well, about the offensive line. I mean, good God. I almost said Jeremiah Farms, which is a totally different thing, and I'm not even trying to be funny. I swear to God. Jeremiah who again?
Byers. No relation to Will. For the Stranger Things fans out there.
I don't know. Yeah,
never seen it. Look, it is tough, but, what I'm hoping for is you're playing against Chicago, you're playing against Buffalo, you're playing against Pittsburgh, and then Cincinnati. The next 3 games, these are all teams fighting for their playoff lives. Like, the Bears have a 30% roughly swing in their playoff odds based on the outcome of this football game. They need to have this football game. And so you're going to get him going against real competition, December football. That's exciting. The line wasn't necessarily the line you expected it to be last week, and he lit it up either. There was no Jack Conklin. You think about your starting line. There was no Jack Conklin. There was no Wyatt Teller. Ethan Posick goes out in the middle of the game. By the way, Luke Whippler came in and on 20 pass blocking snaps didn't allow a single pressure. You know, you had Joel Bitonio out there, and you had Cam Robinson out there, but of course that was supposed to be DeJuan Jones from the beginning of the year. Yeah. So I thought that he went out and did a great job last week. At some point there, I do think you reach like a threshold where you're just not going to block, but he's under pressure 63% of the time. Like, it can't get much worse than that. Now, the line did do a good job on some plays. A touchdown to Jerry Jeudy, had a beautiful pocket to operate from, and hopefully we see more of that. The Bears aren't really a great pass rushing team outside of Montez Sweat, who's got the 8.5 sacks. But, you know, you want to evaluate him because the best case scenario for everybody involved here is that Shadur Sanders continues to show this improvement, that we go out and we win at 1 or 2 of these games, and you say to yourself, okay, let's give this kid the full off season. Let's look at the improvement he's made since he's gotten these reps. And yes, he had a little bit of a learning curve, but you got to give him a lot of credit and give this staff a lot of credit for the extra time, the extra work that everybody put in. And then Shadur Sanders is taking that work and putting it on the field. Because if you can go into that next draft and say, you know what, we're going with Shadur Sanders. We've got a quarterback now that we really like for the next 3 years on a 5th-round contract. We can go and draft the Carnell Tate in the 1st round. We can go get a tackle in the 1st round with our 2 first-round picks. All of a sudden, I think you have a chance to kind of turn this thing around pretty quickly. We know it's a quarterback league. If he can be that answer, the Browns are in a great spot. And so to me, that is the story, singular story outside of Myles Garrett and his pursuit of greatness and Carson Schwarzenegger likely to go on and win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yes, there are other good stories about the whole rookie class, all of that. But if you're talking big picture, what matters the most, what can help this franchise the most, it's over the next few weeks, Shadur Sanders continuing to play well, to show improvement, and be cognizant of the conditions. We'll see kind of what this game is in Chicago as a part of our evaluation. But if that can happen, you have a chance to add a weapon and to add a tackle in the 1st round next year and hopefully start to turn this thing around on the offensive side of the ball.
Nathan, thank you very much for the power and the glory, and we'll talk to you coming up on Sunday morning. I'll talk to you in the pregame on Sunday morning.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
The great Nathan Zagura on the Fan Hotline. Let me have the mouse. Get your hand away from the mouse, Jason, so I can put him on
control
hold.
You? Ooh, I didn't know that. The
only person can control me is Liz.
Ooh, I didn't know that. So that if I do that or that.
Well, there's nothing that can be done now. Now I can just send it to break.
Oh.
You can't do anything now. Coming up at 9 o'clock, David Aldridge is going to join us on the show. 8:45, Shadur may have to save the Browns from themselves over the next month. Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd, in for the Tone Master General on the Fan.
Hey, guys, it's Jonathan from my...
What did you like best about Shadur on Sunday?
Every week it feels like there's something that they really want him to work on and emphasize, and he puts in the work, and then he takes it onto the field and does it. Here's the key to me in the National Football League. Can your quarterback throw the ball when the other team knows you need to throw the ball? And if you go look at those last two drives, he goes 10 of 13, leads you down the field for over 60 yards for a touchdown that he runs in, and then he gets the 80-yard drive where he caps it off with a touchdown to Harold Fannin. They knew the Browns had to pass in those situations, and he still was able to do it. So I thought that was all very encouraging for Shadur Sanders.
Lace and Lloyd and Nathan Zagura asking about Shadur Sanders, where for some odd reason Jason sounded like he had spilled paint in the garage and he was apologizing to his parents about it.
What are you talking about?
What did you like about Shadur Sanders?
Oh, no, I'm not asking questions appropriately?
No, you're not. You didn't ask it with the right zest, and I expect the people on the YouTube Live.
You told me. I got to have more energy in the morning.
People on the
I don't
YouTube
have
Live
enough energy
to
for you.
act accordingly.
How's this? Is this enough energy for you? Am I yelling enough for you now?
I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in your voice. You want him to be a failure.
Don't you start that.
In your voice.
Don't start that.
I don't like your tone.
Oh, God. Don't start that.
You got some social media reactions over there, Kayla. Listen, don't you start that. You bastard. Don't you
You
start
are a
it.
child.
It's going on
Yes.
theme. That's okay. So social media reactions powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Yes.
And on theme for right now, at P Mills OH,
Okay.
Ken's a pompous a-hole.
Yes.
I'm not pompous.
I agree.
I'm not pompous.
Definitely
Pompous?
an a-hole. Definitely a-hole. Nailed that
I didn't
part.
say I wasn't. I'm nice to people. I'm not an a-hole. Who am I a-hole to? You. You don't count. That's how it goes.
More of those, please. You got anything else over there, ripping Ken?
I'm the one who's nice to the callers. I'm not the other guy. I'm not you. You're mean to the callers. You talk down to all of them.
Oh, stop it.
You're condescending,
Find
Jason.
more mean things about Ken.
Go ahead, read the
Hang
next
on,
one.
let me tweet
Is
real
there
quick.
another one here?
So the next one isn't necessarily talking about Ken, but it's just something you guys they want you to talk about.
Okay.
At Miss Kennedy the Cat.
Okay.
Seth Rogen is hosting today.
I do not look like Seth Rogen. I do not look like Seth Rogen.
It is a little bit.
I mean, I've gotten Barney Rubble and Drew Carey in my life.
Someone did call you Drew Carey earlier today.
Yeah, I was definitely. I used to look even worse like Drew Carey.
Well, Drew Carey's he's gone gray. You color your hair still.
I do not.
Okay.
My hair.
Whatever you want to say there, bud.
I'm sorry you're jealous. You can't look this good.
That's how sensitive you were about me saying I didn't like your tone about how you were asking Shadur questions.
Well,
too,
it's stupid.
Why?
All I said was, wait. I paid him a compliment.
Listen,
I put it on the tee for him.
I just want to tell the truth about the Cleveland media and about how some in the Cleveland
Nathan,
media
hit
don't
it in
even
the fairway.
don't even.
What did you like
want
about Shadur?
Some in the
Put it wherever you want.
What did you like about Shadur? You might as well start blinking in Morse code that I was holding you hostage.
Okay. Well, you didn't even ask about Shadur. You're talking about freaking Baker. Who cares about Baker?
One more time. Sorry, that last part.
Yeah. Well, I had to ask him to start the conversation.
Do you have more over there, ripping Ken, please?
There's nothing. What else is there to rip me for?
I can tweet you real quick.
Are they going to call me fat? Oh, okay. Shh, that's our secret, guys. I don't want anybody to know I'm fat. Quiet.
I just like when people can see through your shtick.
What's the shtick?
You tell people what they want to hear. I've said that for years.
I tell people the truth. I just have a better bedside manner.
You tell people. You
that's
tell people
not
what
true.
they want to hear.
That's not true.
I tell them what they need to hear.
If I told people what they wanted, first off, that's what I say on Fox 8. Thank you very much. Second of all, I just have a better bedside manner. Have I told people at all that they should just fire Kevin Stefanski right now? Have I ever said it? And that's what they want to hear. That's what they want me to say every Sunday night when they embarrass themselves by doing something silly.
You must be the Culligan man.
Then I'm the
you
guy.
don't want him fired.
No,
you must be the Culligan man.
No, because I said I don't. If I got Shadur Sanders doing well, the last thing I really want to do in a season that's already lost is just rip guys away who he's worked with.
Is he a good coach
I don't
or a
want to
bad
do that.
coach?
I think that he is a football coach right now.
Is he a good coach or a bad coach?
I don't think he's bad.
You're
I don't think he's
gutless.
very good.
You're gutless.
That's not gutless. That's the truth.
Good coach or bad coach?
He's doing a bad job right now.
Well, then fire him. Say it. Fire him.
No.
Well,
I
he's
just
doing a
gave
bad
you the
job.
reason why I'm not firing him right now. I just gave you the reason. Listen.
It wasn't a very good reason.
It was a great reason.
Gutless coward.
You want me to rip away coaches while Shador's playing? Hey, here you got no reps. Then we gave you some reps.
I mean,
now
haven't
you have
you
to
heard?
do this.
Haven't
We're
you
just
heard?
gonna get rid of all these guys.
Haven't you heard? Shador's playing well in spite of the coaching. Haven't you heard that?
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. 216-474-0092. No, that's not true. I know people want to believe that. No. See, I told that. Is that a popular thing to say?
You tell people what they want to hear.
That's not true.
That is true.
Do you?
Just can't tell people what they want to hear. 216.
If I told people what they wanted to hear, I would have just said that.
0092.
I would have just said he's winning in spite of Kevin Stefanski.
Tell people they want to hear.
And that's not true. That's
you
not
can call
true.
it bedside manner.
It is a better bedside manner than you. Yes, I will admit, I tend to have the same opinion as a lot of the common fans out there because I'm a common person. A little bit of that.
I got in the car the other day and turned on the radio to drive AJ to school and heard out of nowhere, not even part of the show, Jason has the bedside manner of a hammer.
That's what you have. It's terrible. You'd be the worst doctor ever.
By the way, my wife totally agrees with you.
Yeah, you're awful. I mean, there's such a thing as no pussyfooting around it, so I mean, that's a good thing too, but Lord almighty.
Just blunt.
Understand that people have feelings, they have hopes and dreams for their football team, and you're just going, hey, ain't no good, why are we even talking about it? Like, what? What? I know. Be gentle, a little gentle about it, if you can. We get to Chuck in Paramount. Chuck, you're first up on the fan. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, fellas, how we doing, man?
Horrific, Chuck. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Hey, whoa, Lace and Lloyd in the building. Hey, this is what I want to say. I don't think he looks like Seth Rogen. If any of we all old enough to remember the show Alf.
I remember Alf. I remember Alf real well.
You tell me I look like an alien? A 3-foot alien?
You look like Alf.
Man. But no, I do want to say this. I'm glad that y'all two can sit away across from each other because he did just hold you accountable, Jason, man. You did have low energy.
Thank
when
you.
it came to that answer, man. You know what I mean?
So should I have not asked about Shadur at all?
No, I saw good. I watch all the shows, so I know how you feel about Shadur. You know, you just want him to go out there and prove himself and don't give him nothing that he hasn't earned. I definitely get it.
Say again. I don't understand. I think I've actually been very fair with Shadur.
You have been fair. You have, but when it comes time for you to really say what he's showing and proving, the energy is low, and I think that's what Ken was saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. Chuck. Thank you very much for the call. But I also think your energy is low anytime in the morning. Also, when you do your live read, you trail off like you're a singer.
We're going to find out here in a minute.
Don't do it yet. You can't do it until 9. That's how the system works.
I've already lost the paper.
You've been lost for a long time, my friend.
Where'd it go?
You don't even know what you're looking for anymore.
I got it.
Okay, coming up in 5 minutes, David Aldridge going to join us on the show. We have some audio from Todd McShay coming up. Shadur may need to save the Browns from themselves. I'm serious about this. I can't say dead ass anymore because they made fun of me about it because then I'm trying to be too young. So that's taken away. Keith made fun of me. Lyman made fun of me. I'm sure you've texted them all about it. So, guys, I'm as dead serious as I can. Is that telling people what they want to hear? Is that what it is?
Go to break.
You know what's a mature argument is when I do this voice when I'm talking to you. Okay, all right, Jason Lloyd in for Tone. Coming up next, David Aldridge from The Athletic. We headed to some choppy waters for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So people are starting to wonder, and could it end up costing some people their jobs? Yeah, we're talking about a defending coach of the year for crying out loud. Ken Carman, Jason Lloyd in for Tone on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Extended.
All of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 923thefan.com.
.923 The Fan is looking for a winner. Enter the code Buckeye at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Cleveland Hoops Showdown this Saturday, December 13th at Rocket Arena, featuring Ohio State versus West Virginia and Ohio versus St. Bonaventure starting at 5 p.m. Again, that's Buckeye. You get the next hour to do it. Get your tickets at rocketarena.com. And hopefully that's enough energy for Ken.
It was. Good thanks to my buddy Keith. Not Keith Britton. He's a bad guy. This guy, Keith's a good guy. He sent me, so everybody on the YouTube chat can see, he has a company that makes T-shirts, and they sent me some Glenville gear, defending D4 state champs right there on Cleveland's
He's such a good buddy of yours. You didn't know the name of his company.
What?
He's such a good buddy of yours.
SABCU. I didn't know he started this company.
All right.
He did. I didn't know he started this company. He's been a listener for a long time, and he's a very nice man.
All right, whatever you say.
There you go. Right, boom, right there. Go Glenville. They can see it right there in the. They can see it right there in the YouTube live chat. There you go.
Hold up your shirt.
This is my shirt. This is the 4X. The other one's smaller. It's probably for Lima, but you know what? I ain't going to give it to him because he ain't here. So I'm going to just give it to my son, and X is going to wear it with pride. David Aldridge joins us right now from The Athletic on the Fan Hotline. Sorry there, David. I didn't know you were there right off the rip. You're there. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, the Cleveland Browns are in the middle of another tough season, but it's been a tough start for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we thank you very much for your time, my friend.
Sure, my pleasure.
First off, what's wrong? Is there something wrong, or is it just early in the season and they're working some things out?
I think there's something that they need to fix. I mean, you're a quarter of the way through the season. It's not time to push the panic button yet, but I think everybody saw the start they got off to last year, and it's hard not to compare this year to last, but I would say the start they got off to last year was a bit of an anomaly, right? Like, it's not normal for a team to rip off that many wins to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit unfair to compare it to last year, but, there's been some signs of slippage, right? I mean, especially at the offensive end. I think the defense, they're fine. They seem to be about where they were last year in terms of efficiency and things like that, but the numbers offensively are not what they were last year. I think Garland being out is a big part of that, but I also think Ty Jerome not being there right anymore and Max Strus not being there to start the season, I think are big parts of that too, because the biggest slippages in 3-point shooting to me, like they were 38 plus last year and they're 34 plus to start this season, and that in a league where 3-pointers are heavy, where a lot of teams shoot a lot of threes, that kind of a drop off matters, right? Because if you're not stopping the other team at a comparable rate, you tend to lose a lot more games. And so I think that part is where they got to figure out the best way. And it's not Merrill's been great shooting the ball from deep, but Ty Jerome he changed games last year with his shooting. And I think that they're trying to figure out how they can change games this year without his shooting.
Hey, buddy, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time. And
sure.
I wrote over the summer, if the Cavs are going to win a championship, Evan Mobley has to get them there because we've seen how far Donovan Mitchell can take a team, and it's the second round. So Please tell the good people of Cleveland why I'm wrong, because I don't think Evan Mobley is going to – he took a massive leap last year. I'm not sure now that there's another leap in there for him to take. And it looks like Donovan is going to be the one who has to lead them. So can Donovan lead them to a title? Or is this, I just look at him. He is what he is. He's had 8 years in the league. He's a phenomenal player, but little guards don't win championships very often.
It's very hard, right? I mean, you can count them on one hand, basically. Isaiah Thomas did it, but very few do it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're going to need Evan Mobley to play at an elite level, at the level he played at last year. The good news is that he played at that level last year, so he can do it again, right? It's repeatable. Once a great player reaches a certain level, they can get to that level again. So he can do it. And again, not being around them every day, I can't pretend like I've drilled down and watched every possession that Evans had this year, right? So I'm not going to pretend to do that. But clearly they have decided organizationally that they're going to play through him, right? And so then, and I think correctly so. So it's just a matter of when does he get back to that level that he played at for most of last season when, he had a legitimate MVP argument to make. I think he will. It's just not right now. And part of that is not again, going back to what we talked about before, I mean, just not having two guys that were really big parts of your team last year. It takes a while. It's going to take a while for Alonzo Ball to find his equilibrium on this team, right? Like, it just does. And Okoro wasn't like a star on the team last year, but he was good in his role, right? And so and now he's not there to be in his role, right? And so, they had a lot of roster churn, with an unusually high amount for a really good team. So that it takes a while. It just takes a while for a team to get used to new guys and new roles. And again, Garland being out and still not quite where he was, I think, before the injury last year. I think he would even acknowledge that. It's a lot to overcome, and it's not like they're 8-20. They're kind of just floating above 500 right now, and it's not where they want to be. But in the East, you just have to get in. I mean, there's not a single team, even Detroit, as good as Detroit's been this year. I don't think people are like quaking in their boots playing to play Detroit in the playoffs, right? You know what I mean? So just get in, and then if you're healthy at the end of the year, maybe you take a run at it.
So this is going to be a little bit long-winded, I think. I'm going to try and pare it down as much as possible. The second apron and the fact the Cavs are the only team in the second apron this year. When they made the Hunter trade last year, that made them a second apron team. And I thought, okay, you've got 2 years at this before you have to get out. And the more I talk to people, it's like, no, really, you got one shot at this. And we saw that with the teams that were second apron last year got out. Is it? Right. Do you think it's so? You get 2 bites at the apple, and then the third bite is when all of the penalties really seep in. Is it because you don't want to take bites at that in consecutive years? You want to leave yourself a second wiggle room in that 5-year window? You see what I'm saying? Because the Cavs are going to have to make decisions after this season on their roster, or else they're going to be a second apron team again next year. And the feeling I get from teams is you don't really want to fire both of your bullets 2 years in a row. You don't want to do 3 and 4, right? And so you're trying to avoid that 3 and 4, which is when you really get crushed by that second apron. So you're trying to avoid that. The best way to avoid that is not to get to year 3, right? And so you do. I guess theoretically you say we'll take one run and then we'll adjust with most of the team, but we don't want the clock to keep ticking. We want the clock to restart. I don't know what their thinking is with regard to that. I suspect their thinking is what everybody else's thinking is, which is it's not just the second apron. It's not just the financial penalties. It's the restrictions on trades and the other things that really make it difficult to be a second apron team. And so my guess is if you're looking at this as a really more of a 3-year window, right? Because they've been the last 2 years have been a very viable, contending team. You would say this is probably it, right? They're going to have to do something next summer to stop the clock, I think. And then, they'll restart the clock with kind of a reformulated team. But yeah, I do think that this is going to be it. And this is the problem that they have. We saw what happened to Boston. And they would have done it anyway. I think they would have done that anyway, even if Tatum hadn't gotten hurt. I agree.
Tatum getting hurt made it easy for them to do it, right? Because they knew they weren't going to be a contender this year. But they would have done it anyway just because you can't operate. You just can't operate as a team, which is why the thing is in place in the first place.
Is the league happy with this? Is the league getting what it wanted out of this, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because there's just more teams that are viable. Like the East is wide open, right? It's wide open for anybody to step up and make a run at this year.
Yeah.
Like there's just, and again, and I'm not being critical of Detroit. I'm not. They're playing really good basketball. But nobody's afraid to play Detroit in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're not. Everybody's going to say, "Yeah, let's take the shot. Yeah, it's worth taking a shot this year." Nobody's afraid to play Toronto in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you're really you're putting more teams in play, and you're reducing the ability of teams to roll it over year after year. Other than Oklahoma City, which is being run by the Borg, apparently. Like, like they just don't stop, crushing people. But it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And yeah, I think the league wanted parity. They got it. They wanted the NFL. They got it.
David Aldridge joining us on the show from The Athletic. I mean, you mentioned the teams that might be scary to face in the playoffs. Is anybody afraid of the Cavs in the playoffs?
Honestly?
Yeah, you can be honest because we know the answer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, afraid? No. Yeah. I mean, respectful. Yeah, they're a really good team when they're healthy. And when they get healthy, they could easily rise to the top of the East and get through and, make the finals. Yeah, they're capable of doing that for sure. They're not healthy right now. I mean, unless and until Darius's toe gets back to normal. They're not there right now. I would say the Knicks are probably the team that's going to be the team to beat when this is all said and done, because they've been together for a year now, and their group is quite good, and Mike Brown's a good coach. Now we'll see in the playoffs, because that's when the crucible is of how you make adjustments and what happens and how healthy you are. But yeah, I would say New York's the team, and Orlando's starting to play like I thought Orlando was going to play. Took Bane a while to kind of figure it out, but now he seems like he's figured it out. They're pretty good. But again, there's no fear. You respect the Knicks, you respect Orlando, but nobody's afraid to play them. So Cleveland shouldn't be afraid to play them in a 7-game series. They can beat those teams in a 7-game series if they're right.
What's going to happen with Giannis?
Oh, I don't think he gets traded this year. I just don't think that it makes a lot of sense to do it under duress of a season. He's going to be professional about it. And I'm in the minority on this. I know. I still believe when Giannis calms down, because I was there at that Wizards game that they lost to the Wizards. You know what I mean? Like, that should just never happen. And I've never seen him like that. And that was kind of a flag, like, ooh, he's really mad. Like he's usually, even when he's frustrated, he talks. He didn't talk after that game. And he just sat by himself for a long time at his locker. And I don't want to extrapolate too much from one bad night, but he definitely is thinking about, like, where am I going? Where's my career going right now? And I think that there'll probably be some hard conversations at the end of the season, because Milwaukee's just not good enough. They're just not good enough. Now, Turner will play better. He's a better player than he's playing right now. But they're just not good enough right now. And I do think after the season, right, you do have to have a conversation. But I still believe that loyalty matters to Giannis. And I think he knows in his heart of hearts that Milwaukee has done everything humanly possible to put a good team around him, and they have done everything he has asked them to do, whether it's trading for Jrue Holiday or trading Jrue Holiday away so that you could, get another player, or bringing in Damian Lillard, or firing a coach or hiring a coach or whatever it is. They've done everything he's asked them to do. And I do think that matters somewhere in Giannis's heart. Like, he knows the truth of it, which is they've done everything I've asked them to do. And I think that will matter some. Will it matter enough for him to not ask for a trade? I don't know that, but I do think it will matter.
David Aldridge from The Athletic. Find him on Twitter, at David Aldridge. David, thank you so much for the time. All the very best to you and yours.
My pleasure, guys.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you, David Aldridge, on the Fan Hotline.
One of the best.
Can I ask? Oh, he was wonderful. Thank you so much.
David's awesome.
Let me ask you a question, though. Between JB Bickerstaff, Pistons are doing great.
Yeah.
Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah.
90 seconds. What's been the biggest difference between the J.B. Bickerstaff Cavs and the Kenny Atkinson Cavs?
JB lost the locker room. Honestly.
And that was it? That's the only difference? Because it's I'm waiting for...
They did a better job. Kenny and his staff last year did a better job of unlocking Evan Mobley. And that's probably the biggest difference.
But it's almost like he locked himself back up.
Well, and I mean, Jordan Ott had a lot to do with Evan Mobley's development, and Jordan is now in Phoenix. And I mean, I'm not going to say Jordan is the sole reason why, but I think it's worth at least pointing out that Jordan had a lot to do with Evan's development last year. But Kenny and this staff were able to put Evan in positions to succeed more than JB was. But, you know, I got crushed. You can call me the Culligan man for JB because I thought JB was an excellent coach. And look, here he is. Got the number one team in the East. I guess JB's not an idiot after all.
It's going to take a Herculean effort starting Sunday and for the next month because there's another big name in the NFL who's saying, yeah, this is nice, but the Browns are still going to do it. What is it and who said it? We'll tell you in 5 on The Fan. Northeast Factory Direct and NortheastFactoryDirect.com. Great savings.
actually probably for a couple of weeks now, but certainly leading into this game and after this game, this is his chance. This is his opportunity to prove to them that they don't need to draft one of those guys in the first round, that they can spend those 2 first-round picks bolstering the supporting cast.
Listen for Mary Kay Cabot from the Plain Dealer in Cleveland.com. Tuesday mornings at 11 on Cleveland's Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Oh, man.
What?
This is great.
What?
This is great.
I'm getting nervous now.
I just checked the social media. A prominent media figure in Northeast Ohio sent me something about crossing the Rubicon.
Oh.
Because the video of us arguing about Baker and Shadur, which got picked up by another media outlet already. It happens basically every morning, but that's okay. Because it was a question from Chad on the west side, Chad and Westlake. And Chad had texted and said, I woke up to it this morning. I went, well, you know what? Why not? Because he asked, who has a higher ceiling, Shadur or Baker? And I went, yeah, I got to fill in. It's a Friday. We're not doing coming in hot. I might as well start the show hot at 6 a.m. I'm just going to make Jason answer the question right off the rip. And the question is so diabolical, guys. Jason walked out of the studio. You can go back and watch that on YouTube Live. It happens like right at the beginning of the broadcast. He gets upset and walks out. Because, Jason acts like he's above all this. He's a big J journalist. No, you're not. No, you're not. Welcome to the circus. Get your makeup on.
Well, it's
we're either in the circus.
You're judging a guy with 8 years in the NFL versus 3 starts.
I'll do it. I don't care. I don't give a bleep. I don't care. I'm a Browns fan. I don't care.
You covered a 3-win team in December with nothing else to talk about.
And you know what? That's better than just doing 3-10. We guys won draft. Which somebody said this is objectively better than talking about draft picks.
You got plenty of time to do that.
Team. Well, I'm going to play a McShay clip here coming up here in moments, but this is just, I love how many people agree with me. It's unbelievable. They're like, yeah, I'd rather have Shadur. Now, I know that they're Browns fans. Okay, that gets taken into it.
And again, a month ago. What would the answer be a month ago?
Somebody tweeted at me and said, well, it wouldn't have mattered because he didn't play a month ago. So there's no answer. So you'd have to say Baker. Now I've seen one guy play pretty good in one game, okay in another, and then really good in another. And I've seen another guy kind of do the same thing he was doing in Cleveland. And you said it yourself. You agreed with me. I said, I can never imagine, and maybe I'll end up being wrong, because he loves, this is his thing. He loves when media talks trash about him, so I'm sure they'll play it to him and he'll get in the zone and then they'll go on a big run, probably. But I want to ask you guys, I'm not doing a victory lap. He's playing injured. He's tough. No one's ever said he was a coward or soft. He's tough. He's a tough guy. He's playing injured, and he needs his whole body to throw, and now he's questioning himself because Emeka Egbuka is not being able to catch some things, so there's some problems there, guys. But I want to ask you guys, be honest. I might even go to the phones. Can you foresee yourself? The Super Bowl's on what, CBS this year?
I have no idea.
Jim Nantz and Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson on the sideline.
It's on NBC this year.
It's on NBC. Can you imagine Bob Trumpy and
Paul McGuire?
Paul McGuire. Can you imagine NBC?
Dick Enberg.
Mike, is it going to be Al Michaels or Mike Tirico? And they're getting ready, and here comes the national anthem. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield on one sideline. It's the playoffs. Anything can happen, but you're kind of seeing what the ceiling is. So when a guy messages me and says, "Who has the higher ceiling?" I don't know. I got one guy just threw for 364. If he can elevate the play of the Cleveland Browns, I got 8 years of evidence with Baker. Yeah, the 8 years tells me that I'm not going to be wrong. The other guy, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. And somebody went, well, is it Bo Nix or is it Shadur? I go, Bo Nix. Bo Nix. Because I've seen him make the playoffs once. I don't think we've scratched that surface. I don't know how great he is. And people call it luck. I think he got a good defense, a great football team there. We'll see what Denver does in the postseason.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm just going to say Shadur for no reason at all other than I'm a Browns fan and I'm trying to curry favor with the listeners. I know you like to accuse me of that in
that's
your
what
private
you do.
text and then to my face and on the air. That's not it. Yeah, Bo Nix has a higher ceiling than Shadur Sanders right now, but Shadur Sanders has a higher ceiling than Baker Mayfield. And fine, if I have to cover my face and act like I'm never going to act like I never said anything, but if I have to cover my face, that I actually said, if I have to cover my face and be embarrassed over a take, I've done that before. I had this thought earlier this morning as well. I said, I used to make fun of people who really care about horoscopes. And then I heard myself after they lost to the Denver Broncos in 2019. And I go, how dare you get upset over anybody who follows horoscopes when you react like that after a Browns game? I'm going to let the Browns make me that upset? Yeah, if they care if somebody's a Sagittarius, it doesn't matter to me. And here I am saying, guys, I can't just say it because I'm a Browns fan. I'm telling you, I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see more. I think I've seen it all with Baker. It doesn't justify the trade. The trade's horrific, and I think it's changed a lot of people's opinions of the Browns, and not their opinions, their emotions of the Browns, and that makes me very fearful of the future with this football team and its fan base. It scares the bejesus out of me. Because now winning is more important than it's ever been. Before, they were like, hey, they're our team. You shut the hell up. When they win, they got Watson, and now we've dealt with crap since. I think some things have changed, and it scares me. But, hey, man, I'm good. For the first time in years, I'm good. It scares me to say because who knows what's going to happen.
I never crushed them for making the trade. I've never once crushed them for making the Deshaun trade. Now, it's turned out to be a magnificent disaster. But it would be hypocritical of me to go back and kill him now because I totally understood why they did it. Because Baker was emotionally and mentally fragile.
Shadur is not.
He is not that.
Mentally and emotionally fragile.
No, he's not. And they looked at Baker.
Baker had rabbit ears of everybody and everything, and whether it's local, writing, but national, certainly national. I mean, he went on Colin Cowherd's show.
I saw him chew out a beer vendor.
Yeah.
Underneath the stadium in Cincinnati. But the Browns.
Where has this story ever been posted?
Oh, yeah. I thought
we were getting some break. I was about to do the whoa.
No. Okay. But they were walking in the locker room after they lost to Cincinnati, and the beer vendor was like taunting them and cheering for the Bengals. It was like after the game was over and he's putting his stuff away.
Well,
and he's
I don't think a beer vendor should be doing that either. I got to tell you.
Well, is the starting quarterback in the NFL really need to walk back out of the locker room and bark at him?
No, but I mean, it's not even that. That's a great anecdote. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you know it, I know it. He had rabbit ears. He paid attention to everything we all said.
And the Browns looked at him and said, "Can we really invest $300 million in this guy?"
Well, there was also the other things that were involved that we don't really need to get into too deeply. The partying after the losses and things like that. The Halloween stuff, but I mean, we've had those discussions before.
So I'm not going to kill him for making the trade.
He's still a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson.
Oh, absolutely.
That's not the comparison.
Yes.
But when I bring up ceiling, you're not even disagreeing with me, by the way. It seems nuts.
They looked at him and said, "Could Baker win a Super Bowl?" And they said no. And that's why they did what they did. Now, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why they made the decision that they made, is they didn't think Baker was good enough to get them to a Super Bowl.
And that's true.
And they felt like they had a roster that was ready to contend. They just needed the right quarterback. And that's why they did what they did.
Todd McShay, he has his podcast. I think Shadur Sanders might need to save the Browns from themselves. Because here is Todd McShay. Hit it.
Giants pick at 1. In this scenario, do you agree or disagree that we should have them trade out of that spot?
You have to trade out of this.
So the 3 teams in the top 10 that I mentioned have 2 first-round picks in 2026. Cleveland sitting at 4, Jets at 7, and the Rams via Atlanta at 9. I personally think the most reasonable trade, given these circumstances, would be Cleveland going from 4 to 1. It might be a new general manager, might be a new head coach. I'm not buying for a millisecond that Shadur Sanders is their long-term answer at quarterback. I'm just not, especially if it's a current regime, although I would say the percentages of them both being back to general manager Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, are probably slim. I wouldn't move on from Stefanski, by the way. but that's just me. And I don't have a tie to CAA or whatever else that people are out there saying with certain people in the media. So if Cleveland's won, then the pick is Mendoza.
Number one, the audio courtesy of the McShay Show.
McShay,
from
the Culligan man.
Hold on. No, just because everybody else said, I'm not going to call them Culligan men. There's more than one Culligan man.
I think it's called The Ringer.
The McShay. I said the McShay Show from The Ringer.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's all right. No, we got to make sure it's right. I'm glad you did it. That's fine. That's fine. The McShay Show from The Ringer. I thought you were talking about the Culligan man. I'm sorry, Cam. I swear to God, I thought you. You're missing the thing.
No, I'm not.
I don't care about what he said about Kevin Stefanski. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You could tell he's seeing all the clips and seeing all the tweets. By the way, either way, this is what I'm saying is what Shadur has to do. It's going to take a Herculean effort over the next 4 games. It'll bother Peterlin to hear that. To a degree, it bothers me because I don't want them to force it. Fernando Mendoza might go out there and just suck up the room, and it's like, well, are we just going to take a quarterback? Because that's what this team does. Or Dante Moore, for that matter. I want to make a good, strong decision. And I'm tired of talking about quarterbacks in college and all the other things. I'd like to move. As crazy as this sounds, guys, I don't want to do rinse, wash, repeat from when we started in 2011.
Yeah.
I'd like to move the conversation along a little bit here because we've been doing this since the station's been on air. And that goes back to the whole Baker thing. I know that for the last 4 years. However, I go back to this with Shadur. He's just got to do something that this is why I'm excited and I'm encouraged, but I also soft pedal Jason because I know that there's a lot of people in the NFL, and I'm not in the NFL, that they're just going to go, Kenny, you're an excitable boy, and we need to make a more responsible decision. I think they're going to do that, and I can sit there and warn them all I want, but I don't know if it's going to go that way.
I mean, for all the people who think like I'm against Shadur, I'm not at all against Shadur. I'm against some of the nonsense and the noise surrounding all of this. But if he continues, I said this with Peterlin and Nick the other day, if he continues to progress over the next month, I would rather see him next year than trade everything you got to go up and get Mendoza. I like Mendoza. Is Mendoza really worth trading everything to go get? Is he Andrew Luck? Is he Peyton Manning? Why not just run it back? I mean, if anything, trade out from 4, go down and get another number. There's holes all over this roster and set yourself up.
That's why I keep in
27 when you've got, I mean, I already wrote about Archie a year ago.
I have to keep explaining myself.
And Julian Sam.
I know.
So that if Shador's the guy and he hits next year, great, off you go. And if he's not, then 27, you have all those quarterbacks to pick from.
I know, but I have to keep explaining myself a bit because there's plenty of people going, Ken, you're doing this out of pride. I go, no, winning helps solidify some things, and it helps you have a clear mind because if you have the number 1 or number 2 over a slot, which in the top 5, and I know we got to go here, in the top 5 right now, in the draft order they're at, they have the number 2 strength of schedule. So it's a tougher schedule than the other teams. So you may end up with number 1 or number 2. The decision may be made for you. But if he goes and he plays well and they win, then it's like, well, do I really want to move picks? We have all these other needs.
Yeah.
Do I really want to it makes the team be more responsible. Regardless of if Shadur is the long-term answer or not, if he plays well and they win, he forces the Browns to have some responsibility for their actions after this season of what they're going to do for the future of their franchise. That means they have to be more in love with Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or whoever than they even thought they had to be. Because if you're at 1 and 2, it's like, all right, this is an arranged thing, and I guess we're just going to go through with this. But if you are at number 5, and the price is what? And I got to give up what? Yeah. Well, are we sure we want to do this? Well, I saw Shadur in Chicago, and it was cold, and he put up 280 and threw a couple of touchdowns and ended up winning that game. Like, then you start to have these conversations.
He has to keep progressing. Yes. He doesn't have to throw for 370 every week.
No,
but he
I
can't.
Said 280.
But he can't have Niners games the rest of the year either.
No, that's true.
So it has to continue because if it's Niners games the rest of the year, they're probably gonna move up. They're gonna take quarterback. But if he continues to show what he did Sunday, then we can have that conversation.
216-474-0092. How much does he have to prove over the next 4 games for you? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima is not here. It is Jason Lloyd. He's a good man. He has coffee in his mouth on the Fan.